Hey, long time no see, right? Sorry, I did take me a little bathroom break. And here we are, right? I feel like we haven't talked in 10 minutes. 10 minutes or so. Just thank y'all for being here. Oh, I'm not even live. Am I? It says go live. Okay, sorry. My machine's doing some really weird stuff over there. And now I made it awkward all the way. Yeah, no, I need to. I didn't have time. Yeah. Let's see if there's any questions from earlier. And it doesn't have to just be Q and A, right? I should call it shoot the shit. Pardon my French. Where did I put it? I don't think so. Now, according to um Cole and Zach, which are Charles's sons, from a previous marriage. Lori did not. She sent them like I want to say a couple watches, according to them, that were like bought at a pharmacy, like a drugstore or something. Not my uncle wore really nice watches all the time. I'm surprised that they didn't take it off his wrist while he lay there dead for 43 damn minutes. So I did see your question before I came on for the other one. So this right here. Any plans for headstone for JJ? I know cremated, but nice to have a marker that he existed. Yes, I agree. Now I don't know because I don't know. I know we did the memorial celebration I forget what we called it. Oh my god. Yeah, we did a memorial service for Tylee and JJ in um, Rexburg, Idaho Falls, during Chad's trial, April. I want to say it was the end of April, and it's online. It's on my channel too. Um, you can go watch that, and also I'm trying to open it. It's not opening. What is in here? That's what you want to know what I'm doing. Let's see. I'm just trying to. I opened the thing where. Oh, I don't want to give it away. Eh. So I don't know about any plans. If so, I know mom had talked about before, mom and Larry talked about before having a celebration of life or whatever, or some kind of memorial service in Rexburg. And then, so we did that. And she said something about in Arizona. And so I don't know. I'll be broadsided just like everybody else. Okay. I had a heads up on the kids. I had a heads up on this one. Okay, this is my jewelry. I was like, what the hell is this in here? And it was like tied in there. It's not jewelry. It is, but it's not. Hold on. Let me shush. It's really in there. Now, okay. So my mom did give me this. I don't know about, see, like, because the remains went to my mom and dad and then Colby too. So, you got to do you got to split them up. And I hate it. But, you know, anyway, so this has JJ's ashes in it, some of them. I'm not a hand model, as you can see. But anyway, so that was very, very thoughtful. I did not expect that. Oh my gosh. I'll get it together. Here, got a box. Something like this. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Sorta. Yeah. Right. I know. I feel like that too. Like we interred my uncle's ashes, half of them, right? Because it sucks, okay? The only decision that you have in any of this is usually, in murder, they decide everything. They decide whether someone's going to live, die, all that. It's just decided for you. And so it's not like an illness that, um, that you can kind of wrap your mind around or try to, or at least just be aware that you're sick or someone you love is sick. And so you can kind of learn more about it and find out the prognosis. Hey, Larry. I was just showing them my JJ, which I'm not very good at. I gotta get a different necklace. That's why it's not. It's just and it's. I didn't like wearing it at night either. It's not very. It's not very comfortable. Because it's kind of heavy. He was a big boy. But anyway, so yeah, but I mean, you have no say so in this except for, and I mean, Chad even took care of where he put their remains after they were killed. Chad had a hand in every one of their deaths and after, like, what I'm saying, like the burial part or arranging the cremains for my uncle, even if he was just doing it to be I don't even know what that's about. I don't know if that's part of their coven or group or practices. I don't know. I would love to have their handbook. Okay, so we just have to kind of make our own handbook out of their crap. But I mean, it just yeah, and that really does piss me off, especially with Charles, for sure. I mean, it's bad enough with the kids, but I mean, he was allegedly not even in Arizona whenever Uncle Charles was murdered on July 11th, 2019. He actually called the Valley of the Sun mortuary on the day he died, the day that Uncle Charles was murdered, the same day. He called and meddled with it. And that's when we got, his name was Daybell. Okay. Chad is void of Daybells, right? Right. Oh, you watching on Facebook? What's up? Hit the like button. Tell my brother I said hi, please. If you don't mind. I see that. Exclamation points. That's my mom. I can tell you right now. Mom is using Larry's icon. I think if I know, and we know our loved ones, we know how people text and stuff, right? People noticed that that wasn't Tylee answering, it was Lori acting as Tylee. Oh, good. I'm there. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Glad you're here. And hi, Mel Mac. Good to see you again. And Carolina. Glad y'all are here. So again, I might need to back out and do my camera thing because it's doing that weird thing again. I hate it. It's probably like, lady, I'm tired. Oh, and Mom, Larry, my phone, it fritzed out. So I'm getting a new one in like 7 to 10 days. That was what they told Jason Thursday. So I don't know. I had all kinds of things not quite complete, but I was working on a big project where I was reading from the Chandler docs, okay, about all basically the timeline leading up to Uncle Charles's murder. And so since I was reading it in the docs anyways, none of that's like video format, so, or voice format. You actually have to freaking read it. And so I had that uploaded in my video editing app, and I was editing it, and then my phone crashed on me, and so did the video. And I was like, oh my God, no. It's a lot of work, man. It really is. It's a lot of work, especially if you're not born with just, feeling public speaking, I mean, it just, I'm so hypercritical of how I sound and how I look, like I hate even being on camera, but I don't know. That's a good question, Treva. Is your mom going to be on Zoom when she's being questioned? I heard that she will be online instead of physically being at the courthouse. Is that true? I don't even know. That's a good question. And so if she's in here or if they're in here, then maybe, they can maybe answer that question for us because I don't know either. Sounds so amazing. And yes, and Mormons believe Satan and Jesus are brothers. I mean, that is just problematic all in of itself, y'all. All in of itself. So I was, again, I do my little ventures into the case, and the rabbit holes are endless. But I was listening to a testimony by, I want to say his name is Nesbitt or Nisbet. I forget how you say his last name, but he was in Kauai. He was one of the Kauai officers that served Chad and Lori poolside, right? To produce her children within 5 days. Okay. And that's when we saw visions of glory right there. Get your copy. Okay. Again, I don't really, there's some dangerous ideas, obviously, and really weird shit. But my suspicion is more into Tom Harrison, the person whose visions these are. That's my issue. You can only do so much with a book. I mean, I'm just against it, period. I'm against everything that this person stands for. Tom Harrison is behind the scenes, in my opinion. And he's behind the scenes not only in Lori and Chad's case, but Julie Rowe, of course. Also in David Hamblin and Gordon Bowen. Tom Harrison was a renowned, so to speak, in Salt Lake City. He's a therapist. He's a retired therapist now. But, I mean, if Tim Ballard, and Tim Ballard, okay, he's just behind. I don't know. I feel like he's like a puppet master somewhere. Just like, I don't know. I mean, I still don't have that figured out, but it's definitely interesting, curious, questionable, suspicious. I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's thank you, Diane. It's just concerning to me, because not only is Tom Harrison behind this book that has literally taken the saints by storm. Okay, people will disown you if you talk bad about this book or Tom Harrison himself. You have those people that vouch and give him credibility, and that happens. That's very consistent and very you just expect it in this realm of people. I say that because I've seen it over and over again. Like, they lend credibility to like get other people to trust them, and I mean, it's already a church. What am I trying to think of? It's already not a society, but I mean, I guess you could call that. It's oh my gosh, a culture. Okay. It's a culture that already does this, like you go, and you're going to do business. Mormons do business with other Mormons and ex-Mormons. Okay. I'm just saying, don't come at me. I'm just saying that is true. I've been iced out a lot of things, and I'm just like, oh my God, so what? I'm not Mormon, but oh my God, do I have a Mormon story to tell you? It's crazy from a non-Mormon perspective. I think that perspective is just as valuable as any. Okay. And I say that because not like my friend Jen, she did not know. And this kind of goes with Gabe Bonilla, I do believe, because Gabe Bonilla tended to minimize what Lori said to Charles, what he witnessed. And I mean, he is going to be a witness on the, in the trial. Lori has him on her defense list, which is interesting. Okay. That's the bishop, let me get my shit together. Let me fix my legs. Bishop Gabe Bonilla is also the illustrator for Jason Mao. And a lot of us think that Jason Mao is really questionable all by himself, right? And I mean, not to mention that the Rexburg Police and Fremont County, when they interviewed Jason Mao, they were saying, they got a swab of his DNA, but it was they were questioning about times whenever Tammy was shot at and or murdered. So it's like, what? I mean, it's very confusing for us, for sure, because I mean, I would have thought, and I suspect that he was there for the kids. I really do. I don't care what the hell his check-in on Facebook says. I don't care. Okay. When you go and you look up the actual event that Jason Mao said he was at, I think they use these as a front anyway. So, I mean, for what it's worth, I don't think they're there just because they want to share their ideas about the Book of Mormon. Okay. I don't, not anymore. I think that they hold these things because Tim Ballard's involved in all these things too. And when you just kind of look at the behavior and like the different flyers and just the different aspects from different people, but yet the same belief system, the same circle of friends, the same circle of whether it's like directly and or in passing, they still spoke at the same conferences. Jody Hildebrandt was right there with Eternal Core with Tom Harrison and Ken Krogh. It's freaking confusing for sure too. And anyway, I'm learning more about Ken Krogh and why he's on this side. And I say this side like there's sides or something, but I would say pro victim. Like he is I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. If anybody has it figured out, let me know because I'm trying to find out why Ken Krogh all of a sudden, because I mean, he's over here in Tim Ballard's all up in his jelly. Okay. He is all up in his jelly. And he's even telling Celeste Borges, which she was one of Tim Ballard's. She's suing Tim Ballard. She was his executive assistant. Okay. I've had her former husband, or I don't know if they're divorced yet or not. He's reached out to me, and I mean, that meant so much to me because it's like, oh my God, okay, good. Because like I said, Mormons really do tend to stay in-house with their business. They will go to someone if they're Mormon. If they're a Mormon therapist, which is even crazier, right? Don't go to a freaking Mormon therapist if you're Mormon, okay? Okay. That's my advice. Just, it doesn't, because they're not really, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like they are really offering any kind of objective, or, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing that'll help you diversify, so to speak. So it's like, and no, Jody Hildebrandt. We have David Hamblin, who is a Mormon therapist. There's so many therapists who the church was actually referring people to, they were and paying for. And so Jesse Hildebrandt shared that nugget, where the church is literally saying, okay, Adam Steed, you and your wife, who probably aren't having the problems that, that it turns out to be, quote unquote, because people like Jody will say that the husband has a porn addiction or whatever and isolate for what she can do, whatever kind of lady stuff she wants to do because she's in denial about being homosexual, in my opinion, for sure. Okay. It just really does appear that way. Same with Gordon Bowen. I think the same. Totally. He would try to get these female, quote unquote, female spirits cast out of him, Gordon Bowen, allegedly, by David Hamblin, who was doing these alleged exorcisms, casting out. Same thing as Lori and Chad, y'all. I mean, same thing as Ruby Frankie. Okay. Same thing. Jody was saying that she was Satan's bride, according to freaking Kevin. It's the same thing. Same people. Wait, different folks for different strokes for different folks. It's the same trailer, different park. Okay. Hold on just one second. I was going to pull something up and I already forgot. What was it? I don't know. That sucks. Did I pull that other one up? Hold on. I'm having, I should have had this prepared, but didn't have time. Thank y'all for joining, on this live. I'm trying to figure out, I wanted it to like automatically redirect you to this video, but I don't have that figured out yet. There's only so many hours in a day. Let's see. So if my mom is and Larry are still here, you know, like what do you my question for them, you know, like if mom's going to be confronting, you know, like if Lori is going to be there, I mean, if she'll be there, if my mom's going to be there or not, or is she going to be on Zoom? If she is in the courtroom, I want to know, will you bail me out of jail afterwards? Okay. That's what I want to know because I will whoop her ass. I'm not playing. Just as long as you get me out of damn jail. Okay. Please. Because I don't know. I feel like how mom and Larry held their freaking composure. I mean, because there's so many times, like in my mind, like, and I can't imagine being right there. He could reach out and touch her. Okay. The translated being. And so, like, I would have, like, my mom and Larry was sitting on the front row in that hearing where Lori walked in with her. I mean, she was so damn like not just confident, she was cocky. She was so cocky, knowing damn good and well what all she has done. Okay. She knows what she's done. All right. And that's how she walked in there into that courtroom. That was my first real quote unquote read on Lori. Like just because I hadn't seen her, you know, and all this shit happened with my uncle. That pissed me off enough right there. I mean, I was just, again, I've never, I don't know, because that person I was before died. And so Lori's actions completely, completely turned my life and into this, which is again, you know, what would my life have been like if she had not done what she did? I mean, we could all ask that, you know, and I mean, that person, like I've tried to remember what it was like before my Uncle Charles's murder. I mean, so the kids hadn't even happened yet. Like this just, it shook my world. It rocked my world. And that's the only description I can really describe it as besides like it just shocked me. It it traumatized me basically. I mean, if I was already, you know, probably already had some kind of things because of stuff I've been through in my childhood, but and from my own doing, you know, things that I've put myself through. And so that was crazy, really. And I don't recognize I've tried to remember my life before my uncle was murdered, and I cannot. There's pictures, there's things like that, but I don't recognize the person or the life I had before that. That was not completely hijacked by Lori and all her shenanigans, her bullshit, her manipulation and her torture and her abuse that she continues to deliver. Now, it is my fault because I choose this path, you know, so I know what, you know, it's a conscious decision that I obviously can turn it off, but I can't, like my soul will not let me. Like that's just been the thing. Like I've not been able to just turn it off ever. It hijacked it, you know. It was just like, okay, well, this is what you care about now, and this is your mission now. This is your, you know, this is your life now. And anyways, I don't know. I don't know. It's freaking weird. Um and so I know that maybe I just don't know. It's very iffy because I don't know if that's ever going to turn off. What happens when these trials are finished and it's still on? You know, like it's still on and I'm still driven. I just assumed that one day I would just be like, okay, and and you know, my gut would just let up and be like, okay, your job here is done. You know, like you feel accomplished or finished or complete or, you know, like you hit the goal or whatever it is. And I mean, it's my intuition that drives me anyways. It's my gut feeling. It's my gut instinct. Like there's a lot of things in this that just did not track at all. You know, you get the prosecution's, you know, their theory, and that's all they are. Did y'all know that? I mean, they are, and they can use evidence in order to justify or to prove without beyond a reasonable doubt their theories on the case. And so, and I mean, I get that, but some people are just like, that's fact. This is not. It was not. So that's a conspiracy theory. And you're just like, what? That's where I'm just, I don't know. I'm like, my family's not a conspiracy theory, first off. So, that's the only dog I have in this hunt, is just to find out the truth. There's his side, her side, and the truth somewhere in the middle. Okay. It does exist. It's just, you're not going to get it, because if you look at one person's side, then you're going to get their bias, their rendition of everything. And then if you look at her side, or vice versa, just whatever. I mean, you can put witnesses testifying, and they're not always accurate, that's why they have certain ways that they question people, interview people. Richard Allen, okay, straight up. That's nuts. But yet there's so many people that have so many different their views on the evidence, the same evidence that everybody else saw, and it's interesting. This is really interesting, I gotta say. I need to quit going on to screens and then forgetting what I go there for. Okay. Oh, damn it. My spelling is not exalted. Stop. Kresha, what's up? You should have just assumed that one day you would be an exalted being. Does that mean that I am? And if so, will I just go kill everybody? There's other people that have been exalted too. And I'm just like, so how did it get to this? How did we get here, Lori? How did we get to exaltation, which is sketchy at best, right? It's enough where they'll come leave a damn card in your living room with your name on it, okay, from the missionaries while you're sleeping. And they will say, hey, it's the missionaries. Wink, wink. We hope all is well. Give us a call when you can. Thanks. They didn't say, hey, here's your free copy of Book of Mormon. They didn't say none of that shit. I don't know. It was just very coincidental because at the same time I was starting to talk about the second anointing and what happened. The first rule of the second anointing is you don't talk about the second anointing. Okay. You don't, because that's where you get exalted. It's just that most people who follow this case are like, okay, so Chad was trying to start his own church, and it was called the Church of the Firstborn. And, he was going to build it literally almost on top of his already temple, where he already is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then I'm just like, does that make sense though? I mean, really, just go with this for a minute, really? You really see that Chad was trying to start his own quote unquote church, but he is broke. He's broke as a joke. And yeah, he got a little money from his blood money from his wife, her death, from causing her death, from prophesying and being the hand of the Lord, so to speak, and causing her death, causing his prophecy to be fulfilled. I mean, yes, totally was doing that. But to build his own church or start his own congregation, no. And I say that because I see Denver Snuffer and how everybody, Mormon and non-Mormon, view him. I get it, but I'm like, what caused the exaltation? I mean, what caused the separation? What caused Orville LeBaron's family to be excommunicated from the church? What caused the Lafferty brothers, to do what they did? And why is it all to do with blood atonement? And why is it to do with this satanic ritual abuse? Why? And I mean, I think these are very, I think they're very normal questions when you find out about these things, because I question everything now. And I mean, you should do your own research. Don't listen to me. We get ideas from people because we don't know if something is an issue or a non-issue until you're actually in it and you share, like you sharing this process with you guys. My thinking I know it's whack. I get it. I'm ADHD like a mofo. Okay. All day, every day. But I mean, this is what I have. So this is who I am, and I can't really change that. Um, just want to share it here. And I know that people have reached out to me, emails and stuff, and I appreciate that. I've even had one lady, I think it's a lady, not sure yet because my phone's been on the fritz. And so, and I'm not very email savvy. I'm just like, I don't quite understand how all that works. But I mean, like the threads and stuff. But I've had one of David Hamblin's alleged victims reach out to, and I mean that again, when you have people like Celeste Borges is her husband, who also filed suit against Tim Ballard, and you have people, because you learn in this religion for sure, you don't get help. You're an outsider. You are a Gentile. You might as well damn be a zombie. You might as well be a dark spirit because you never had the gospel, and you won't quite go to outer darkness like an ex-Mormon, because they turned their back because they received the quote unquote true gospel, and then turned their back on it, and basically they no longer exist. Just like Lori treats her victims, you're trash and you don't exist anymore, and everybody just shuns you. And they can say they don't, but I mean, I have eyes to see and ears to hear, and I read. I'm not, come on now. Anyways, so, but yeah, those of us who have never had the quote unquote Mormon gospel, the truth, so to speak, we won't go to outer darkness where apostates go, those who turned away from the church. But we will go to, I think we're here in the celestial kingdom, actually. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we'd be celestial or terrestrial. I never thought about that. Interesting. If anybody knows, let me know. Does anyone remember how Lori / others prophesy an earthquake was going to happen in Rexburg? And there was one. I remember thinking that. I'm like, well, shit. How can they be the Lord's servants? I'm being honest. I'm being dead honest with you right now. I literally was like, well, shit. I mean, Moroni's freaking trumpet fell from the damn top of the temple. I mean, here's your sign, How about you, illuminating ink? How about you? But then the world didn't end when they said it would. I think their world ended for sure, but it was just in the in the prophetic sense of like figuratively, and literally, just not their lives didn't end, but they were like sowers of their own fate, and we are. I think we all are. I mean, choice and a consequence, right, Larry? Right, right, right. Yeah, thank you, Carrie. It's so good to see you. Yeah, you're right, little horses. I'm sorry, I just saw that. Severe trauma changes a person, not for a few days / couple years. It changes a person for a lifetime. The last 10 years since I found my mom. I'm so sorry, Carrie. Again, like it seems like it never happened. I kind of just float through life. It's very unsettling because I too feel like I float through life, and I'm like, where did the time go? I have no concept of time. I'm sure many of you learned, a long time ago. And again, I'm not doing it to be disrespectful. It's just, I freeze. That became a new, I think it became a new thing for me. Like, I never hesitated and, basically like sabotaging myself, even though it's not like knowingly or like, okay, yep, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. It's never like that. It's just, I have no concept of the time. And that's troubling. It really is. It bothers me, but I know, and I mean, I've tried, I've scheduled these things all the time and I'm always late, and I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to help myself to not freeze or to not sabotage myself, if that's anyways, it is it's more complex than just people are like, oh my God, I had that was so much trauma, I mean, some people just joke about it and I get it, but it's really not funny because I mean, it really, and I need to do more research into this, but like how it ties to Alzheimer's and it can, it actually changes the way your brain even thinks. It changes so many things. It alters your life. I don't know. Don't listen to me because I don't know what I'm talking about because I've not really researched into this too much. It's a little scary because it's your I mean, without your mind, what you have to depend on everyone around you. Like Jason has, his grandmother. He was raised. I think she had, and that's bad, right? But I think whenever she went through where you take oh my God, the you're doing is it an MRI or some kind of test? This is back, more towards the 80s, 90s, I guess, where it was like some kind of dye. And so she had a reaction to it and it caused her to become paralyzed. So he grew up all around his grandmother being basically a vegetable. She could talk and stuff like that. But I mean, she always had someone, his grandfather would take care of her. And I mean, that's gotta work on the psyche big time because you go from being an able-bodied person to losing it, quote unquote, losing it all. And then, having to depend on everyone in your world to, like take care of you. It's so sad. It really is. An MRI. Thank you. EMDR helps with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Trace has told me that before too. I think Megan too, EMDR. I've looked at it and I was like, I don't know if it's controversial or not, like, I don't know, especially because of the whole energy healing stuff with Chad and Julie and Lori and all these people. And I'm just like, while I'm researching it, I'm just like, oh, okay, is EMDR kind of like that? Because isn't it like eye movement, something? I can't think of the word. Hold on, I'll look it up. I'm gonna look it up this time. EMDR for trauma. Let's see. We're gonna watch this video. I don't know. It's the first one that came up, so I do not endorse. Okay, I'm just saying I don't endorse. I don't know what the hell. I'm just trying to get an idea of what this is. All right, you can do it with me. That's how we roll. Okay, so it's just 3 minutes 20 seconds. Thank you, MMF, and you also. Thank you.
Those images are just stuck in my head.
My childhood was so bad with the abuse. I've been to therapy for years. I liked my therapist, but nothing really changed.
Wow.
I can't stand going out to bars or being around people.
Oof.
I drink alone. I think it used to make me feel better, but not anymore.
Since the attack, I feel numb. Had to leave school and work.
Numb.
My life just stopped.
Thank you.
These are the voices of people who have lived with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Sometimes PTSD can start right away after something happens, and other times it takes a while to notice symptoms. Either way, when a person has PTSD, it usually means that painful memories become a problem in a person's life. And that's when someone might need some help. But PTSD is a condition that can be treated. There are a few therapies that work especially well, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or EMDR, is one. EMDR is an evidence-based treatment, which means it's been proven to be effective more often than most other types of therapy. During EMDR, a trained therapist works with a person to keep the sessions comfortable and relaxed, but also
Yes,
to achieve the goals they set together.
Great point.
Relaxation and breathing exercises might be taught early in the sessions, so they can be used later. People then talk about the memories that have been most difficult for them. While they're telling the stories of their trauma, they're also watching something right in front of them, such as moving lights or the tip of a pencil being waved back and forth. The repetitive eye movement can be distracting or calming, and telling the story becomes easier. This is desensitization. Next, the feelings that go with the memories of awful, traumatic moments or years of traumatic moments can change. Those feelings shift during therapy, and how people think about themselves in relation to their memories can be dramatically different following EMDR.
Sorry.
This is reprocessing. The memories start to have far less power than they did before the treatment.
We'll come back
The
to
best
that.
news is that EMDR usually doesn't take that long. The feeling that a person is stuck in the past can change with EMDR.
Oh my God, that's me.
People with PTSD can become fully present and live their lives the way they intend. PTSD can be treated, and people can get back to the lives they want to live.
Wow. Okay, I mean the whole gotta get over there. Stop. Oh, and now I just changed my algorithm. Now that's all we're gonna see are these kind of videos. Okay, so I mean I thank y'all for the advice, and whether it worked for you or didn't, or what did, and what aspects of it. And I mean, I'm all about it. I just don't know how to make the time to, but I need to work on that. I've not been to I've not seen anybody for this. This is my therapy, so to speak. Talk therapy or whatever this community by the deaths of Charles, Tylee, and JJ, and Tammy and Joe, they've created this community, and that's how I always looked at it. And then until KJ and Mr. Wayne drove all the way down from Tennessee, a couple years ago now, but they came in, and I mean, she didn't come in, I knew that KJ's intent was never to get the scoop or the tea or whatever. She was not pushy. She was not, she didn't overstep boundaries, is what I'm saying. Very respectful. And she just wanted to glean from it. I could tell, that's the sense I got and still get, she still just wants to get quote unquote justice through understanding. And I mean, she taught me that concept because I had never thought about what justice meant to me. Have you ever? Until you've actually been aware of it, right? And what justice looks like to the victims. And I mean, we can only assume we know what they, because some people are like, well, they're dead. And so they don't know. I mean, okay. But again, it's like, I believe here on earth as it is in heaven. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they'll be judged in this life. The perpetrators, the ones who infringed the human rights or the basic human rights of other human beings, that think they're gods, whether they're exalted or not. These people who just think that they have the power and control and the say so to dictate somebody else's life. Like, whoa. Huge violation of the human rights, not only the autonomy, but just basic freaking being born, and living a life and dying naturally. The cycle of life, is the reason someone cycled out or died. That to me, I can wrap my head around, but it's so hard, because when the loss of that person is definitely significant, I believe that, loss, it's a part of life. Loss is a part of life. And, like I had reached out to Compassionate Friends was the name of the place, the group or whatever here in Lake Charles. And this was after the hurricanes, or right after one of the hurricanes, and then right before the other, I think. And for me, the fact that I even reached out is shocking to me still. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, because I was just so cycling in the grief and the processing and trying to understand what this is. They say that you size up your enemies, so to speak. Well, I never looked at anybody other than Chad and Lori and their band of misfits, Kool-Aid in the gang, if you will. I never and I mean, they're enemies because they made themselves enemies. So to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, you're dark. I'm just like, what the hell, lady? What is your problem? Like, that's how I feel with Lori. Like, you don't have that right to, to take other people's lives, especially my family. You don't have the right to take my family's lives. And you don't have the right to freaking call my mom a zombie and put her on your damn hit list. Okay. Like, you don't have that right. And I mean, again, the first case I researched was Vallow-Daybell. And that is trippy, y'all. They call him the Mormon Manson. I mean, I bought Anna LeBaron's book. I've watched all the things she's been on Hidden True Crime, not on Hidden True Crime. I remember she gave me her number once, but I don't know. I just like, what makes this? What's creating this? Because Mormonism seems to have a huge problem with offshoots, and so with everything else, for sure now, with everything else I've learned about Mormonism, period, and how they handle things and how they view things and how they project things and how it's this toxic blend of, and this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to down anybody who's part of the belief system. It's just, I came to a point in time where I had to decide to speak openly about what I think, or, and I mean, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I don't want to have a not accurate picture of what I'm analyzing here. Like, I'm analyzing it, I'm sizing it up. I'm sizing up the opposition, I guess you could say. And I mean, I never looked at the church as opposition until I found out how involved they were in the making of Lori, the radicalization of her. I mean, if Lori and Chad did participate in a ceremony that is either the second anointing or some other, by proxy, by whatever, where they issued them new names like James and Elena, and Chad, even recounts this in his text messages to Lori as James and Elena were transpiring. And I mean, it was found out by FBI analysts, that everything that was happening in real life was happening. You could find it in Chad's retelling, or his quote unquote his smutty novel, y'all. It's nasty, but so I mean, he's because so many people, and I mean, this is very. It really bothers me. It bothers me that without doing your own research, without finding out on your own, not just taking the word of every Tom, Dick, and Harry, so to speak, or by, okay, because these creators or this reporter says this or whatever, or a member of the church tells me that, it's not usually by experience, or it's just people just buy into the mainstream story. And it reminds me of, well, let me tell you this first. Whenever everybody has retold the story, they say, oh, no. This is Lori and Chad's own branch of belief. This is Chad and Lori's own offshoot. This is something different than what I do. This is something different than what my church teaches. This is something different than scriptures in the Bible and or in the Book of Mormon. This is something different They're different. Okay. Because whenever someone retells this story and it's not accurate, it's hurtful to me. Like, I believe it's hurtful it does not do the victims any justice. How about that? Because it's not, I don't know their story. We don't for sure know how it went down for them. We don't know what they felt, what they thought. We don't know all these things. We just have to follow our heart and the evidence. Okay. Never forget the evidence. And I part of that evidence for me are the things that they've said, that they say, that they, proudly profess, whenever we're not looking, when they're not trying to impress us or sway us anyway, like all the recordings that we've obtained from these podcasts and from Lori, Melanie Gibb recording Lori, where she says, where she's justifying murder, basically. And so then you have people like oh my God, Netflix, Sins of Our Mother, who, they influence their documentary influences so many people who are not going to do the research on their own. They just, oh my God, this is how it was presented to them. This is how they came across Lori and Chad. Okay. Just like this is how I came across the Book of Mormon. I learned about the Book of Mormon in the church because of Lori and Chad. Through this case, I learned about its belief system. And anyways, and I mean, I'm not a scholar. I'm not an expert. I don't have all the fancy words, buzzwords and things like that. I can just tell you what it looks like from my view and as a member of this family. That's it. That's all I got. You can take it, you can leave it, you can, crap, I went blank. Do whatever you will, I mean, just definitely do your own research. I've really, and I do see so many of you on other platforms, asking questions or correcting something that somebody's telling wrong. And you know what I mean? Like, cause it matters. It matters because this is details about their deaths, about the betrayal, about the end of their life as they know it, as we've come to know, and the crimes of these murderers and narcissists and psychopaths and just people who have, I mean, a lot of this high demand religion seems to it's like a pressure cooker, and it's just a matter of time. Lori said it best when she was being interviewed in that pageant. I'm basically a ticking time bomb. Well, yeah. I just wish we had gotten the memo. I didn't know, but anyways, doesn't mean we don't have to or we don't get to. No, I mean, we can only, what I'm saying? Like, you can't read other people's minds. You don't know what they're thinking. All you can do is base your perception off of what's being said. And not all the time are we fully focused on that, because we have our own lives, because we have our own trauma and drama and our kids and chaos. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we have our own, our own crap to deal with. But, hopefully everyone who's been following this case and just learning the different aspects, there's so many issues that come along with all this. I mean, I've had to learn stuff about the judicial system, and I'm like, what? Never wanted to know. I never wanted to know these things, never, not one time was I like, oh Lord, please let me learn about blank. Never. Didn't know I cared. Didn't know I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the things came, like, whenever my uncle was murdered and I found out about it, which was the next day, I found out July 12th. I found out this is how I found out. Me and Jason, and I don't think it was just me and Jason up at the Mom and Larry shop. Okay. They owned a transportation company. And that they were married to basically for, I don't know, a couple decades. Okay. It seemed, for sure. I'm trying to think. Let's see, 2019. I mean, I don't know when they started their business, but my kids were little. Ashlyn might not even been born yet. I don't remember, but whenever my mom and Larry, and this is just my perspective, I have other siblings who might think, like what? But my perspective was that my mom and Larry were married to this business that catered to offshore, customers. And the offshore business is 24/7, 365. And, maybe at that time I might not have felt like I needed or desired to even have my mom and to have their presence, like, I was trying to find my own way, you know what I'm saying? Like, and try to be independent and all the things. But anyway, so there was a lot of, they were absent for things that, I mean, now, I might have been pushing them. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things that factor into this, but basically that's what I'm saying. They were, I lost my parents. I've said this before. I've lost my parents to a cell phone and a van. Okay. And I mean, I understand you got to make a living, but that's something that I did myself whenever me and my son were estranged for 6 years. Y'all, that was the hardest thing. That was harder. I gotta say, it was harder than these murders. And I mean, I don't know if it's because it's my son. I don't know. It's pretty, or they're about the same, because I don't know. It's just it's such a substantial and profound loss. But yet the person, like, that's my baby, and like I felt rejected. And then there's so many things I should have done, could have done, would have done if X and X, would have the factors, if I would have had the tools to know that this isn't the final answer, that because I was dealing with assholes like Lori and, who use their children as pawns, I could have bucked up against them with more confidence, instead of feeling like, oh my God, this is the final say so. Like, his dad had the final say so or something. And I allowed his intimidation to stop me, like I didn't, I don't know. So many things, right? But to sit here and to like mourn, to literally mourn someone who is still alive is so, I don't even know. Now, I've said this before in front of my grandma, my mama Trahan, who, I mean, she was so wise, I believe. And she had lost 2 sons at this point, and I was just, sharing with her, how much it was bothering me. Just, it bothered me so much. It hurt my heart, that I lost touch with my son. And I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of shame in that too, because guilting myself, like, oh my God, you shouldn't be, just down talking, like, he deserves better. You couldn't even fight for him, or you got to try and be a better mom, to your daughter, who they have different, fathers. But, and I mean, I've not been in the present since that time, even. Like, it was so hard for me to be present and be the mom that my daughter deserved too, because I mean, I was just wallowing in my own grief from losing, being out of touch with my son, being estranged from my son, and letting that dictate everything. So, I mean, that was really, 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 really one of the toughest times. And I'm so sorry for anybody like Joe Ryan who had this, decided for them, so to speak. My ex decided this for me, and Lori, it appears, decided this for Joe. And she dictated, and she ruled the roost, and she, just would evade any kind of prosecution, or, just for her own decisions. She never had to freaking she was never held responsible for the shit. Okay. She could say and do all the things that she has said and has done. And she has never faced any kind of repercussions for her actions. as a parent, as herself, just as Lori. And my mom and my dad are the first, I do believe, it appears, the first people to hold her ass accountable. And I think she takes a strong disliking to that. Okay. Just saying, I don't think it's all just about the insurance money. I think that the insurance money, had Lori gotten it, then maybe, she'd have been too busy, spending money, blood money, that she might have forgotten about a little bit. But I mean, about, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what grudge she would have had against my mom. It seemed like that's apparent, with the whole insurance money, but that had nothing to do with my mom. My mom didn't change it. Chad is a conspiracy theorist, though, because he even, texted the lawyer back when she told him that she was not going to be getting the benefit, she was not the beneficiary of the $1 million. And he's like, oh, babe, it's okay. And he was like, I wonder if it was Kay. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, conspiracy theorist much. As like what? Maybe she signed his name. Like, not that Charles changed it, because Lori is a freaking psycho bitch. Okay, it was nothing like, just the evidence is right here in front of you. It's not by her actions or their actions. It's always someone else's fault. Someone else's doing. It's Satan. It's Jody. It's Chad. It's everybody else's fault but mine. And I mean, I've seen this one too many times with this culture. Like, I don't know. I try to keep my eyes focused just on the people in and around Lori and Chad's group. With Tim Ballard, with David Hamblin, with David Levitt, with Gordon Bowen, with Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie, Ken Krogh. I mean, who am I missing? I feel like Chad, Lori, Dilemma, Melanie, all the people, right? And I mean, it's weird when you have that many people acting the same way. I'm like, interesting. I understand everybody's individual. We are in control of our own actions, our own consequences, the consequences from the actions, from the decisions we make, the choices we make. And I'm sorry, it's too many things to me that are identical in all these cases. You've got suffocating children, and I'm sorry, I should have let me trigger warning that. You've got this torture that's happening here. You've got where they are isolating the children. Or their victims. It's all about control. What can you do for me? I'm going to play God. Okay. And I'm going to remove you from every comfort, every bit of stability, every bit of, normalcy. And I'm just going to completely uproot your whole life and everything as you knew it. And I mean, again, for like JJ, who had autism and ADHD. I have ADHD for sure. And I depend on everybody else being like, I appreciate other people being dependable, because I know that that's not my strong point. I'll be there, but I'll be there late, like I'm loyal. I'll be there, but unfortunately I have this huge thing. I wish I could change that. If I could change one thing about myself instantly, it would be that I would want to be on time, punctual, not put anybody out their way, or not be offended, or, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So many things. But I mean, so just like Tylee being a teenager, she depended on that too, because she's a kid, she's still a kid. Although in their dynamics, it seemed like Tylee was so much more further in her maturity than Lori could shake a stick at. Okay. Or Chad could shake a magic wand. I'm telling you all, it's looking more and more like they were practicing dark magic, black magic. Something that I ran across that, I mean, and I remember hearing it before, but again, knowing what I know now and just kind of revisiting these things. And as I learn and progress through my learning journey, through getting justice through understanding, is the use of like just learning about how Joseph Smith, how, I mean, everything that I've learned about him initially was not at all how, that's not reality. And it just goes to show how people can change the entire character of someone, depending on how they need you to remember it, how much your money, your financial involvement, helps their, their journey. How, if they can get you to guilt you into paying tithing from the age of 8 on up, and they can guilt you into all the things. And I mean, they show it monkey see, monkey do, in my opinion. And so you have people like Chad and Lori, Chad using, again, Tammy's dead grandma to shame her into stopping playing the game Frontierville, instead of just being a damn man, okay, and just being upfront and real with his wife of 29 years, 5 kids together. Can't be real. Cannot. Okay, don't know. They have no idea what it's even like to be real. They're so superficial and so passive aggressive, so it's so covert, and it's deceptive. It's not right. It's not good. It's not good. Smoke and mirrors. Nothing to see here. Don't look at anything that they do as wrong. I think it stems from their doctrine of self-revelation and divine progression in the next life. I endorse this comment. How about that? Thank you. It's so many things too. You take this right here as your, the baseline, I guess, and then you throw in the patriarchy and the nature of it, how men are, the women are to be subservient of the men. And that's why Lori is just, I think she's already had Joe demean her. She looked at it as this. She said that in that recording, she says he said I was this lying crazy Mormon. Okay, that bothers her. She does not like that. A lying crazy Mormon. We need some merch with that. Okay, straight up. And the Lord's favorite for sure. Joking, but we have that, and then we have where Charles is trying to have her served with a freaking mental hold, to have her committed to Community Bridges. She's like, oh hell no, fool me once. Basically, I saw it as like, this is war. She already waged war anyways, but this was like, oh hell no. That's what I think we're seeing now, is Lori just saying, representing herself and everything. Happy birthday again, Rombo. I just remembered to tell you that. And I understand having to, back away from it because her voice bothers you. I get it. Trust me. It's just so offensive what she's doing. And it's so embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for her. Like, I'm just like embarrassed, like, oh my God, that's my aunt. I don't know her. I don't know why she's doing this. It's so cringe. It's so cringe, y'all. It's like shitting on their memories, shitting on their legacies. And I'm sorry. Again, I don't have the words, but it's just dehumanizing them, the victims, so much more. I didn't know that one could even dehumanize or victimize their own victims in the afterlife. I mean, again, this is a learning experience for myself too. And here she is victimizing her own victims in their afterlife as well as in their life. She has to control everything, obviously, around her. She's a freaking control freak who does not have any control of her own knee-jerk reactions and spontaneity, her just because I've learned this throughout this process too. Just because someone writes something or says something or does something does not mean that I have to respond. Okay, whatever. I've learned that is the only control that I have in this narrative. I can choose to respond to another person, especially one like Lori, or you know what I'm saying, the people. And it like feeds their narcissism. It gives them their supply, this toxic bullshit. And then they just take that they suck out of you and they turn it around and they like throw it all on you, and then we get upset whenever that happens. But if we just don't entertain it, then I feel like that's half the battle. Thank you, little brands. You go, girl. Thank you. I will dance I'll dance at your wedding anniversary dinner or something. I will be doing the Cabbage Patch. Oh my gosh. I wish we had the videos of Lori dancing, y'all. Oh my God. I do and I don't, because it's cringe. It's cringe. Oh, I'm glad you're back, Valerie. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I've had to choose I try to choose my words, where it won't be just like, I try to be constructive as far as like, I don't want to tear anybody's beliefs down. That's not me. I never, ever, ever, ever would want that responsibility, and again, it's kind of like when people say that, so-and-so caused her husband to cheat or whatever. And I'm just like, no, they were going to cheat no matter what, so if that person runs off and cheats, that's because they don't value you. They don't truly love you. They love themselves more. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, so it's, I don't know. I'm kind of getting lost in the sauce. Going way too far down in the weeds. But, I don't feel like calling someone or telling someone that they're in a cult is very constructive, because look what happened to Lori with Lori and her vengeance, I guess. Charles tried holding her accountable, getting her help that she needed. And if she was honest with herself, she would have realized a long time ago, at that point in time, that if it was some kind of ceremony that she went through, or whatever, okay, to just fess that up. Then if it was some kind of sealing ordinance or endowment that she got herself caught up into, because her church actually does this, okay, then she could have always come clean with that, and that's it. If she was not in love with Charles, she could have come clean with that. If she would have been real with herself and just been like, I'm probably not the best thing for my kids. Okay. So I'm going to be selfless and I'm going to just do what's best for them for once. I'm going to do what's going to not cause them pain and not cause them trauma and abuse and to lose their lives. I'm going to do things in their best interest. But she didn't do that. She didn't do that at all. She, up the ante basically, and was just like, she's that parent, the ones that say, I brought you in this world, I can take you out. She's that parent, she's got the right to do that. That's how she feels, obviously. And then not only that, but then capitalize off of it, off of the murders. Like, what can I gain from this? Everything is about her. And I feel like this is exactly how Lori was raised. And that might not have manifested in so many in murderous freaking, rampages like it did with Lori and Alex. That's two kids, y'all. That's not just one. That's two children. Then you have other members of the family who are ride or die. One sister saying, do you want me to run interference because Charles and Adam were trying to, come into town and you know what I'm saying? Like do an intervention to try and approach someone like Lori and say, it's the equivalent of saying, hey, I think you're in a cult, or I think you need mental help, or I think you have a drug problem, or I think you are a narcissist, or I think you have an alcohol problem. Any kind of like intervention that puts that person like into a corner, so to speak, you know, the person like has to want to receive the help. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It just looked like a bad reaction to Charles trying to hold her accountable, trying to get her help that he thought she needed. But again, what I think it is, it appears to me that it's possibly this exaltation ceremony that I believe the church is 100% the reason why Chad and Lori became sealed in the temple. I don't think it was a proxy. I don't know. I mean, why people say that, I don't know. You know, we can't corroborate it unless someone from the temple like Tom Phillips or Hans and Brigitte Mattson, who have spoken out in public. You know, they're not members of the church anymore, but and then you have to kind of see through their language, the lingo, the Mormon speak. It's so coded for me. Like, I wasn't raised in this culture. I have no idea. Like I said, this was my introduction to the Book of Mormon, so to speak. And so to hear Lori and Melanie Gibb talking about core horror and about, you know, and then Lori telling like Colby about being like Job and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what? You know, and then Lori using scripture to actually justify, if he comes at you once, if he comes at you twice, if he comes at you 3 times. See, look, it says it right here. I did not have a murderous heart. I just wanted to stop the bleeding and stop the pain. That's what she said. Something around, that was pretty good. As I remember it, but you're just like, what? But I mean, like, Netflix didn't include that actual little part. Give me my temple recommend. She said, I went to my bishop, said, give me my temple recommend, or I'm going to commit murder. And I've seen this same issue with like Hector Sosa Jr. He was one who was telling everybody to shut everything. He was shutting everything down, like everything that they were involved in. Okay. And he was like, shut it down. Well, just the things he was saying, he was like, don't tell your bishop, don't do this. And that's, again, what makes me suspect that this could be much like the Hamblin, just like the Hamblin SRA situation, alleged situation. I don't want them to sue me. I have one of the freaking son-in-laws of the Binions in my inbox. Yeah, you. Anyways, I'm like, here we go. These people they are psychological hornet's nest, in my opinion, allegedly. Because nobody ever holds them accountable. Okay. Because these things are just so crazy it can't be true. McConkie don't want to touch with a 1,000,000-foot pile. Nope. Oh yeah, I'm so glad you're covering this, because when she says those things, I was always like, what? I know, it's like, I call it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's like Mormonese. That's what I call it. Or Mormonology 101. It's like, it's foreign to me. It was. I've had to learn just by watching all these different creators, you know, and I didn't know where they were at on the spectrum as far of belief. I didn't know if they were practicing Mormons. I didn't know if they were excommunicated. I just know that they talked about Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, and I was like, okay. And I still didn't understand, but I was just like, you know, watching Bill Reel and Radio Free Mormon. I mean, I'm an OG, okay? Straight up OG. And I was always saying, Mormon, yeah. I was always in the comments, and I would bring up Tylee, Charles, JJ, Tammy, Joe. I would bring up my family, you know, this is my family, and they would never acknowledge me. Still have not. And that's weird to me. That's weird. It's really weird, and it's a little upsetting, because it's like I know I'm not anybody special or whatever. I'm not exalted like my aunt, but like to not be acknowledged for things, especially whenever, I mean, I can run up, I can't say it as beautiful as they can. You know, they have a way with these words. They're, you know, they grew up in this. I did not. So it's like I don't know. I'm not as eloquent, but I can go toe to toe with them. Okay. I can be like, you know, I can call them out on their bullshit if they're trying to bullshit me or my family. Like they have done that. They have bullshitted my family, my mom, my dad, especially. And that's just super offensive to me. Only as real as that. Well, that's a good one, Scooter. I think her temple stories, sealing, etc., are only as real as her visits from Jesus, Tammy, and the children, all loving and honoring her. My opinion. That's a good opinion. That really is. You know, I just want to know where she got this so-called authority, or and the keywords. And I don't know how to. And so, okay, all the things that she told to my uncle initially, everything that he reported Lori saying, are all the same exact wording. I mean, not the, you know, the actual ceremony though, but everything, the translated being, the church of the firstborn, the exaltation, the celestial kingdom, the 144,000, ushering in second coming of Christ. Every one of those, what I call dog whistles, are in this same ceremony and what it means, like what it symbolizes. And that's the only thing. So I don't know. I mean, kind of talking that out right there, you know, with it maybe being in her mind. I mean, I wish that were, I hope it's not true, but I can't help but like suspect that it happened in reality, and that it's happened to other people makes that even more real, you know? Yeah, horror film is funny. I didn't even know, you know, I didn't even know that Bill Real had a girlfriend. I was like, what? You know, as because I guess kind of got out of the algorithm when I was chasing down Diddy, learning from the Diddy thing, because that's exactly, this is the quote unquote enterprise, you know. I didn't realize how this could be a RICO case. This could be just like what is happening right now with Jody Hildebrandt, Pam Botcher, and Ruby Frankie and Connections Classroom. We've got Tom Harrison and Ken Krogh, who, in my opinion, would make up the enterprise in my family's cases and the murders of my family. And so I don't know if I have a leg to stand on, whether or not I would have a case, or if I could even bring this kind of thing forward. You know, I don't know. I don't know that yet, but since I know and took this route, I'm doing my best to try and figure out, and I'm probably overthinking it, because I overthink everything anyway. So it's a good, y'all would be like, oh, it'd be this person, and this is a freaking enterprise. Go, you know, but so I get a little lost in the sauce big time. In the weeds, they really bog me down. And I get really down in there. And then I'm like, wait, what was I doing here? You know, that kind of thing. But how this guy, Michael Tilleman, came forward with this lawsuit that was filed federally, but it's a civil lawsuit filed federally, saying that his child, okay, one of the women who are partners or something like that in the this whole Jody, Ruby, Pam Connections Classroom thing. She's an instructor or something like that. A mental health fitness trainer. No, fitness trainer or whatever. Like, I gotta do mental gymnastics for that. For Ruby Frankie, thinking she's any kind of mental health, whatever. That could be it too, Dawn. Many find the second anointing and quit. Yeah, he lost his mind and decided he was special and did his own false ceremony. Crazy turns evil. Yeah. It doesn't help that they have this whole underbelly of the Mormon church that is what I'm learning, that it exists. It's like it's a organization, another secret organization that exists within the membership of the church. These people hold callings allegedly, and they refer to themselves as quote unquote the group. Okay. Remember when Melanie was like, I'm not going to do groups anymore. Remember that shit? I think it was in that Sherry Dowdle call that I shared on the other live stream. But that's scary. I mean, I had a dream about those people. And I know this is wild. Okay. 'Cause I feel like when this kind of stuff happens, I'm like, I am no better than freaking Julie Rowe and Chad with all their dreams and visions. But I am not trying to, act upon them. I'm just saying it was a really cryptic freaking dream that I had about Pam Botcher and her husband. What's his name? Ron or Jim, or I forget his name. So creepy. And it was even apocalyptic, y'all. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. I was scared to even, say it publicly, but I did. I shared what I remembered of it. I remember telling Jason right away, and I wrote it down a little bit. But again, I got to find it. I got to find where I write all this shit down. Okay. But the dream and so please note, I need to put a disclaimer up or something like, this is a dream. This is not real. This is just what my body dreamt. Okay. What my mind dreamt while I was sleeping. And so I was at Pam and whatever his face is named, I was at Pam's house, and her husband, this is a dream, kept bringing different women into the back, what you could say bedroom, I don't know. I didn't go in there, but this was the sense that I had. And it was like I would say it would appear to be more like a trafficking kind of thing, or like a sex whatever, I don't know how to I mean, basically like a just by the hour type of thing, I don't know, that's the feeling I got. And so I remember, and so again in my dream, it was my ex-husband actually I was with for some reason, don't know why. And so he came and got me from the butcher's house or whatever. And so then we go to this convenience store, and we're putting gas in the vehicle. And then the moon, no, yeah, hold on. It was nighttime, and the moon just fell out the sky. Actually, alarms started going off first. Like everybody's car alarm started going off. And I mean, I just kind of froze. He was inside Pan, and I was outside about to pump the gas. And that's when everybody's alarms went off. And then, so it was just kind of weird, alarming. Ha, ha, ha. And then it's like the moon fell out it went really quick. It was just like, boom. It just went from in the sky to not so high in the sky. I don't know. And it's like, it messed with the gravitational pull. I don't have a basis for all this, y'all. It was just a freaking weird dream. And I don't know. It involved Pam Botcher and her husband. And so take it for what it's worth. It's not real. It's just a dream I had. So I don't know what it symbolizes. I didn't look it up, but I mean, it's just a gut feeling that it, like Ruby and Jody. And according to like Jesse Hildebrandt, who said that their aunt would, it resembled exactly what I've heard from the Hamblin daughters in their victim statement, saying that their dad, they alleged that their dad, David Hamblin, who's he was a doctor, he had his he was a Mormon therapist who used these kind of practices. That's who I was looking up earlier. I finally remembered. He was using these kind of practices to basically MK Ultra them. Okay, that's what it appears like, allegedly. Okay, they are in the chat, I'm sure, listening, lurking. So I got to be careful. And I mean, I'm not trying to vilify anybody. They do well enough on their own, I do believe. I'm just trying to figure out how my family fits into this same belief system, the same people doing the same effed up shit. Okay. And so that to me is like, what about the rest of them? Is something I always used to say and ask. Like when Alex died, my mom was like, oh, it's okay. Their hitman is dead. And I'm like, what about the rest of them? Because I mean, it's a cult, what's a cult to you? 2 or more people gathered. I mean, what the hell? Speaking of gatherings, I mean, that's so the way these people say gathering, they use it in the context. A lot of these things a lot of their definitions are a little bit different than everyone else's. So, I mean, what does it mean when one says, crap, I already forgot. What does it mean when one says gathering? These gatherings, it bothers me now. It's like they've said it so many times, and I don't think they're talking about it in the same way that I think about it, or that it's defined in my mind, my understanding of it. And so it's like, I don't know. It's really weird. Super, super duper weird and curious. It makes me wonder. Hold on just one second. I'm going to go to where is our, okay, there's content dashboard. Do I have to go on YouTube and look? Let's see. Home. Let me go home. Community tab is what I'm looking for. Let's see. Let me go to my channel and look for it there. Because I do have the link to David Hamblin in my, hold on, post. There it is. Post. Okay. So this is, I want you to see and this is so grody. But anyways, just hold on just one second. Let me switch screen. Gotta find the tab again. Here it is. Share tab instead. And back this down. There we go. This is David Hamblin. Alternative facts. Yeah. I wasn't having a party at my parents' house while they were away. It was a social gathering. Makes it sound less harmful about the house being trashed. Oh my Lord. Yep. Oh, thank you, Carolina. I think they were targeted too. I'm so glad that you've been busting your ass. I see that, I see you everywhere just trying to learn more. And your insights, everybody's insights, y'all. Yeah, there you go. Everybody's insights really, they help, and it helps us to kind of form a more clear, accurate picture. And just being open, just being like, no, girl, I don't think that's it. And so my theories are fluid, like they change. And as I size this up even more and more and more and get more into this, then they of course change. It's the people that are like, no, it's this way or that way. It's the way I know it, and you're a conspiracy theorist. That's where I'm like, wait, but you're walling off this whole horrific child abuse and freaking sexual. It's not all. I think SRA is not all sexual abuse. It's not all. It's just really extreme abuse where they use different. They do the whole thing about bringing children to the brink of death. And then right at the very last minute, they have someone who is representative of of Satan rescue that child. I mean, I heard it today whenever I was listening to the woman who's analyzing Ruby and Jody, or Ruby's abuse for sure. The one she journaled about of R. Frankie and E. Frankie. Okay. And I mean, I'd already saw it before, but just to hear someone read it, because these are journals, you have to actually go physically read them, and anyway, so her breaking them down, it just made it so clear to me the exact thing that Bishop Glenn L. Pace was freaking reporting about back in 1991. And do you think, I mean, honestly, do you think that the church has actually handled this head on, this problem, this people being abused in its system, and its you know, the way they have the victim hotline set up, which, I mean, I'm sorry, is it the victim or is it the LDS helpline? That's what it's called. And so, to an outsider perspective who's not going to do the research, who's just going to buy into it, and just know that it exists, this LDS helpline, it really appears like it's a helpline to help people who are assaulted, violated by people within the church organization who are doing these things. Okay. I mean, they're doing it under the guise of their priesthood. They're calling in the church. It lends credibility, you know, it's because it's authoritative, you know? So, I mean, to someone who, again, they're at church, they're not like, oh yes, my such and such is going to freaking abuse me sexually, confuse me and traumatize me and do all this and then not believe me. You know what I mean? Like it becomes really, 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 really messy. And I mean, it's happened in Catholic Church. I mean, Boy Scouts of America, which, I mean, again, goes hand in hand with Catholicism and Mormonism. Is pretty sick. But anyways, this is crazy. This video here. So this is David Hamblin. And I remember I found this, it was like 200 views, but this is from like, the video is a glimpse into the complex structure of the human soul. This is exactly what Lori and Chad were into, y'all. Right, Chris? Okay, so the video is a glimpse into the complex structure of the human soul through a shamanic soul retrieval session. Observe an adult's actual wounded childlike aspect, or I would say part, quote unquote part, be healed, transformed, and integrated in a group setting. Integrated is a very interesting word. As we go through life, parts of our child consciousness are lost to a spiritual death. So this is the same guy that the victim, Hamblin victim statements allege their dad creates trauma or has created trauma and abused them throughout their lives and have offered them up and have shown them off even to advertise to other Satanist families who are involved in all this wicked shit, like I believe Ruby Frankie was involved in generationally, just like I believe Lori is involved in generationally, is to some degree, okay, for sure. Anyway, so they like advertise, I think that like Jody advertised their her niece Jessie. Oh my god, I get confused with the damn names. I think that Jody would, you know, her brother, which would be Jesse's father, right? Jesse's the niece of Jody. It appears that this could be the scenario or something like it, that could they have dropped Jesse off to be quote unquote trained by their aunt Jody, just like the Hamblin daughters accused their dad, saying that he shows off his work, I guess you could say, of splitting their minds, traumatizing their minds. This is MK Ultra. Okay, big time. Shattering, you know, because when a child experiences abuse, they have nowhere to run or hide or defend themselves. So they split, like their mind splits, their brain splits, and it causes or creates what David Hamblin is alleged to believe. It causes the brain to become parts, quote unquote parts. And the Hamblin daughters allege that whenever their parents would want them to perform sexually for a fellow person in the LDS Church of Satan, or you know, people who are into this sadistic shit. So whenever they needed the daughter to perform sexually or whatever, she had one part that was named Tabitha, and so he would use they allege he would use hypnosis or things like this to pull that personality forward to perform said sexual whatever they needed, for this prostitution ring, a child prostitution ring. That's, again, I believe it's been there since before Bishop Glenn Pace even came about to investigate into claims of satanic ritual abuse. And then we know now, of course, that Bishop Glenn L. Pace's memo was never meant to be live or in the public. It was never for your eyes or mine, but it was leaked by media. And this is the only reason we know about it. Other than that, he was tasked by his, the brethren to go investigate 60 of the claims. He said he could have investigated and he could have met with 120, but these are just the people along the Wasatch Front who were claiming this, who were willing to come forward. There are people who will never tell. There are people who don't remember yet. There are people, whatever. I don't know. But this is a problem, and I really feel like this was never addressed. It was just swept under the rug, just like pattern history has indicated. Repeat behavior, repeat pattern of just forgive and forget, nothing to see here. It's just nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong here. And I think that Tylee JJ and Charles Tammy, I think they were just the 2019 version of quote unquote Bishop Glenn L. Pace's memo from back in 1991. If you want to know. But let's just take a gander with this.
Hi, I'm David Hamblin.
And I'm Sabrina.
My girlfriend, which is a whole nother story. In this introductory video,
wait, let me
we're talking about a larger video demonstrating.
They don't like criticism, but I'm just going to say, I slowed it down just because it creeped me out so much, just hearing his mouth. Okay.
The healing practice that we represent, which is founded
in
Native American principles and spirituality, which helps people bring their difficulties deliberately to the divine to be transformed.
Yes. I'll pull that up too.
As a disclaimer, I'll say this is not therapy.
Oh,
it's
allegedly
spiritual healing.
I don't know if she's even present in her body right now.
The goal is to guide someone from where they're at to a transformation, relying on divine grace.
Okay, here, mouth.
And there's only one divine. And
that too.
Divine principle.
Sorry.
Is
I'll get past it.
Behind all religion, or is
let's watch that again. Watch this.
Behind all religion, or
I think it's before that.
Is divine principle is behind all religion.
Oh my God, I didn't go back far enough again.
The divinity that addresses all religion, but all spirituality, which goes well beyond religion, to any good person doing his or her best.
She's not there, man.
Seeking to do good and to be good. The video that you're going to see is a example of this spiritual practice. And
you know how back in the old days, how, a lot of the older generations, they never smiled in pictures. That's the same vibe I'm getting right here. Like, what the hell? Is this one of Joe Binion's? I'm just picking.
He
was a therapist.
Further example or evidence of who I am as a
he's going to talk about it
in this Native American
not Native American
tradition of healing that goes back to the beginning. And it goes far beyond how people understand or think they understand Native American spirituality. Further, this video demonstrates a mystery of how our spirits are made.
A mystery. Oh, shit.
And
Spirits.
goes beyond our general understanding of who we are as individuals to reveal
Sounds like he's got some answers.
that we are made of many, many spiritual aspects or parts.
Oh, parts per million.
And this
Where's she at? Where's she going?
reality is, as I say, is unknown, largely unknown.
It's so creepy.
And certainly not part of the scientific worldview.
She's back. She's back.
In a general sense. And so I'm going to show people what others don't want to have them see. And I'm doing it for everybody.
He's going to
Also
share
doing it
an
for me. I've
actual
been the
therapy
subject of
session.
A targeted online campaign,
Oh,
making me
he's a
out to
victim.
be the worst kind of human being, even inhuman. None of it's true. And the
And just believe it.
video demonstrates that, as well as my book, which is available
Shameless Mormon plug.
on Mother Earth Manifesta.com. That's Manifesta with an A for the Divine Mother.
Manifesta.
.com.
You know who else thinks it was all about being a goddess? Was Lori. Okay. Manifesta.
That's Manifesta with an A for the Divine Mother.
So this is what he's claiming. He's claiming that he was targeted by an online campaign to make him out to be the worst human, even inhuman. And his daughters are the ones who wrote the 500 some odd page victim report that went through the government. Okay. The Provo police, the Utah County, they're FOIA docs. They are straight up FOIA docs. And I promise you right now that anybody that has the actual docs, like I do, I have all the docs, all the videos, all the things that are contained within that case. Okay. But I noticed that other people weren't sharing them like we do with Chad and Lori's. Okay. FOIA docs, FOIA body cam footage, FOIA, that's how people obtain these. That's how news stations obtain these things. They file for a request. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. And whenever you file for a Freedom of Information Act, it's federal. Okay. They purge like the places where all this went down, like Kauai, like Gilbert PD, like Chandler PD, any jurisdiction that would have intervened or crossed paths, where things were said and made, reports were made, things like that. If there's an investigation going on, then you can pay however much money. It depends upon the jurisdiction. Okay. And then you receive this huge ass file like we did with Lori. Okay. I'm sure we're due for one from Idaho. Whenever that becomes available, but people who do share them, who do get them, they do buy them. They do cost money. It just depends. Sometimes they're $4 a pay. You know what I'm saying? There's so much money per whatever. And, they have, I understand that, but, it also can get really, really, really pricey. And how a lot of people's are gatekeepers of the information too. They will only present what they want to show you. They don't want anybody else to, who doesn't buy it. They don't want people like that they just want all the accolades, in my opinion, sometimes. Okay. Or they want to share it on their Patreon only, or, to me, that's gatekeeping. Okay. And I mean, at first I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I didn't know. Like, you don't know going into all this. There's so many different levels of understanding things. Okay. There's so many different processes at play. And I mean, it's confusing, it really is. Whenever a lot of people just, if you're not on this side of things, then you just turn on the damn, the news station, and you see only what those media stations have, put out there and compiled into bite-sized, facts, yeah, of the case or whatever, or their understanding of the case, so hold on, I'm pulling this up too real quick so you can see just how large this file is, if that's even it. No, not. Let me go back. I mean, these will be like gigabytes of storage. Let's see. Oh, it keeps going down. Like I have like Tom Harrison, and it came from Lynn Packer, the investigative journalist who's been on top of Operation Underground Railroad, and Tim Ballard in his reporting. And he had attended the proceedings for Gordon Bowen and Barbara Timothy, who was married to Gordon Bowen at the time. And so because Tom Harrison was a therapist, he testified as an expert witness in the divorce proceedings of Barbara Timothy and and Gordon Bowen. And so they asked him to sign an NDA, and according to Lynn, he said, that's how I'm able to share these records, because I refused to sign the NDA. Okay, so kudos to him, right? And so to read the statements and stuff, the report made by like Tom Harrison about Gordon Bowen, where Tom Harrison is like, Gordon Bowen is a Satanist, and he wait, what else? Oh, he's a pedophile. That's what he said. Allegedly. I'm just saying what he said. But you can read the reports, and it's like in handwriting too, like Barbara Timothy's own handwriting and stuff. I mean, you can, I'm still scrolling. I'm sorry. I should have shared. But I mean, usually it's all in one case, but these are just things that I've uploaded to my Dropbox, newspaper clippings and things like that have been corroborated with the victim statements. And I mean, just all kinds of things, facts, just where they lived in the neighborhood, at what time did they live in this particular subdivision, who were their neighbors, and are the people they're accusing of doing all of this heinous, sadistic torture and abuse to these children. Does it track out with what these girls are saying in their statements? Are they does the evidence prove the location where they were reported to have lived at the time, and reported such and such was abusing them at the time? Does it corroborate with what's being said? Does it, just to put them in the same vicinity, and be like, oh, they went to the same church meeting house, they went to this was her bishop, this was not, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's different ways to corroborate stories. And so that's what Goel has been doing. I'm sorry. I don't know if I hit my back button or not, but it's just interesting because this case is huge. At least the file is, in my opinion, and like none of it is shared. None of it is shared from a FOIA GRAMA request, which is what they call it in Utah. It's called GRAMA, GRAMA. And so it's just treated so differently than like what we have when we have these huge cases that, all the YouTubers, break down and analyze, and we talk about all the time. But I want to know, so I never put anything public because I was like, oh hell no, I'm not trying to get murdered. Okay, I don't want any more of my family members to be murdered because these people cannot handle real life. Okay, in my opinion, they can't handle real life. They can't handle the criticism that comes along with what they're doing. Okay, they think that what they're doing is done in righteousness. They don't think that because that's what they're taught is normal. That's why I say it's generational. And it's like, oh shit, then you end up with Ruby and Jody. You end up with, in my opinion, David Hamblin. You end up with victims in the wake, in my opinion, as well. Like these people right here, Gary and Joy. Hopefully y'all can see. Yeah. Right there to the right of my screen. I got to get back there as soon as I find which one I'm in. Okay, Dropbox. And oh, there it is. Okay. Like these people right here. I wish I could make this larger. Let's see if I can. Oh hell. Okay, these people right here at the bottom. Okay, now turns out I found them on. I mean, they're alleged to be LDS Church of Satan members, which is the church that they claim exists inside of the regular membership of the church. I believe, to me, it really does appear to be the same people that Glenn Pace wrote about in his memo. I believe that victims back then were coming forward for help with the abuse that they had to endure, you know? I mean, so here we are decades later. I don't think that it's ever been, I don't think it does not appear that it was ever handled correctly, you know, like it was just kind of nothing to see here. There's no such thing as this. Okay. And let's just label it as really nasty, really egregious child abuse, really outlandish. I've seen people even say this about what they call satanic panic. And even though these the memo, Glenn Pace memo came out after, like 10 years after the satanic panic, moral the moral what do you call it, moral pandemic, not a pandemic, but oh my gosh, evaded me. I can't think of the word right now, but anyways, a panic, moral panic. Okay, there. So this kind of came out on the coattails of the height of satanic panic. And so a lot of people still just labeled it as, I mean, if you were Mormon, I've read that it's presented as a secret combination, or the Gadianton robbers, which is exactly what Chad and Lori were saying Brandon was. He was from a robber family or a group of robbers, of these people who murder and kill and lust and murmur and just all the things that they do. Okay, so whatever they're doing. Okay, I believe that Lori and Chad are actually part of the Gadiantons. Okay, they are the zombies. They're warning. They are the sheep in I'm sorry, the wolves in sheep clothing. They are exactly who they try to instill in their victims and create fear and write about it in these doomsday books and this prepper crap and, you know, fear mongering. This is what they do. And I believe it's because I do really believe, and I'm still, you know, continuing to work this aspect of it, this angle, that I believe that they are LDS Church of Satan members. Okay. With Chad's background into, you know, digging graves with his brothers, working summers digging graves, with his dad potentially digging graves as well, with how there's a Meldrum crematorium that exists in Arizona. And I don't know if that's related to Rod Meldrum, but I mean, come on. Then they have a Russin funeral home that's out there. They have a Levitt funeral home that's out there. They have Joe Binion, who is a potter, I guess, and he has a kiln. And there's stories in these victim statements that, I mean, I've found so much information out and just kind of comparing it to the beliefs, because there's no basis. You know, everybody's like, oh, this is Chad Lori's beliefs, you know, and then Ian comes out with that whole document about you know, like vibrations and this weird shit, you know, just what a zombie is, or did he write about a zombie? I'll have to go and check that. But, you know, oh my God, being connected to your core, you know, like your silver cord is your lifeline to your body. And I believe they all believed, Charles even said it in his reports, that they believed in, Lori believed she could do astral projection through a portal in her closet. I swear to God. Then you have Jason Mal promoting going into your closets. Okay. Then you had Melanie Boudreaux-Plowski, who also believed that she could astral travel. You also have, and so again, we learned that that Julie Rowe and Chad Daybell, before the murders, went off, that, I mean, so Tom Harrison's influence in this is huge, ginormous. Okay. And there's just not that much out there about him, except for what we've all pulled up, and have continued to question. I want to know if that's where the rating systems came from, but I really do think that they go higher than that. I mean, when you have members, or I'm sorry, the prophet of the Mormon Church, who is an actual member of the Skull and Bones Secret Society, and then how the origins of Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, the practice of blood atonement, and with Joseph Smith, anyways, I'm not in those camps that are like, oh my God, yeah, he practiced polygamy, or no, it was Brigham. That's not me. Okay. I'm just like, it's all effed up. Okay. And then the fact that Joseph Smith was a damn treasure hunter, digger, whatever, and the Jupiter talisman and seer stones and death masks and these canes that they use that are made out of human. Come on now. Any fool can see if they just stop with the ignorance, stop. Just do your own research, learn about it yourself. It's very puzzling to me too. But the demon names, the so-called demon names that Chad and Lori assigned to their victims, okay? It's like the same thing when an actual Mormon goes through a temple ceremony, and whatever day them and their spouse go through the temple ceremony, they are given new names. They are actually assigned new names. And so I looked it up because I wanted to know where they got Tammy's name, her zombie name or dark spirit name. And it was Viola. And so I was like, okay, I'd learned about the, different names that they use on the different dates all over the world. If you went through the temple on this date, August 26th or whatever, in 1990 to whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like different, I think the name of the website is Fuller. I forget the whole name, but it's like Fuller something. And again, I've learned about all this stuff through finding out on my own, like nobody told me all this. I'd heard things, but I didn't know what people were talking about or what they were referring to when they talk about these things. But to go and find it myself has been so empowering, and is answered so many questions that I have had in this case, in the behaviors and the actions of Lori and Chad and their friends, and why this happened to Tylee and JJ and Charles and Tammy and Joe. Why do they behave this way? Why do they respond this way? Why do they look at themselves and posture themselves as being the victims? I mean, Chad wrote a lot of books, and Wordwise, Kit, she has brought out this element from Chad Daybell's books. She's not Mormon, but she's followed these cases, Ruby, Frankie, Jody, Hildebrandt, Chad, Lori. And I mean, there's people who are not part of this culture who follow these cases and find these cases. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. It means so much. And I mean, it's standing out to many more people than what I even, what I even am aware of. There's a lot more people who are like, nah, there's something going on here, and people are pointing these things out. People like myself, never Mormon, who are, and it's easier to look into other people's cultures. I'll say that right now. It's once you get past the language barrier thing, and that there is some kind of special talk or secret talk, or however you want to, communicating through scriptures, whatever this culture does, and just the different behaviors that are going on here. They then you can kind of start getting down to the nuts and bolts of it, in my opinion. But anyways, back to the Gary and Joy Lundberg right here. This, for example, they're alleged LDS Church of Satan members. They're alleged sexual abusers of the Hamblin children. The Lundbergs are the co-authors of various books on marriage, and Joy, the lady, is a lyricist with over 170 songs to her credit with composer Janice Cap Perry. And so one day I was perusing the freaking East Idaho News website, and guess who had many different. Basically, East Idaho News has lent their platform to let these people spread their message. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Now, whether they are or not, I don't know. But I mean, that's interesting. I'm all about associations and correlations and like who knows who and why and the influence of one person. I mean, I'm not saying Tom Harrison or anybody for that matter is responsible for any of this crap. I'm just saying influence, looking at it, how it just kind of poo-poos on their victims. I'll tell you that. Okay. There are victims here for sure. That is 100%. They right there. Some of them. That is I can't think of the word. That is evidence. They're not here. My nephew, part of him, a pinch of him, is in this little bitty cross. Okay. Came back in a box. My uncle came back in a box. And if we were blood relatives and closer relatives of Tylee, she would have came back in a box here too, or part of her, because not even all of her body was found. Again, if you read these victim statements and just kind of imagine and glean through what's being told, whether it's true, I'm not here to sit here and dispute the facts. I believe the victims, though. I'm not here to be like, hold them, make sure they're convicted. I wish more people like this would be convicted. It's really weird how it seems to be they're really slippery, And I mean, it's no different than Sean Diddy Combs or Jeffrey Epstein or Abercrombie dude or the Alexander brothers down there in Florida, or Tim Ballard and his enterprise, in my opinion. Chad and Lori are part of that enterprise. So is Jody, and so is Ruby. So is Tom. So is Ken Krogh. So are the Hamblins. That's the enterprise, okay? We talk about the enterprise here. And I never would have looked at it that way had it not, if I didn't have some kind of bare bones or framework to look at to even, I've been trying for 6 damn years to put this into some kind of understandable, I don't even know. I don't even know what to call it because I'm still reeling from it. I'm still like processing all this information. And I mean, again, if there's any legal avenues to go down, I'm going to go down them. And if not, if I can't actually do it because of my relation to my uncle, because I'm a niece, because I'm JJ's, well, if we go by him being adopted, then I would be his adopted cousin. So again, no legal, I don't, according to their definitions and things, it's usually not, I don't count. I'm not acknowledged. Again, it's very, very, that to me is so, it's, I don't know, it bothers me. It bothers me, dehumanizing, or just your existence doesn't exist. Your voice does not matter. Your love, your relationship to your uncle, to your nephew, don't matter as much because, you're not that close. So kick rocks. I mean, that to me, I'm just like, what the fuck did you just say? And why the hell do you keep saying it? And why are these adopted into your policy and procedure? And why do people got to qualify to be a victim assistant or whatever the hell? I don't even know the names. A representative and like what? I mean, I understand there's got to be some I kind of do. I kind of understand that. I mean, I guess because I have to. There's got to be some kind of cutoff, or then everybody could just be like, well, they offended me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that. But then I don't, because no, they don't get to tell me how to grieve. They don't get to tell me whether or not I qualify or am close enough in relation to read a victim impact statement, to have a say so in any of this. That although it's okay for what Lori did to have completely interrupted my life, to completely sent me on this. I don't recognize myself. Like, I don't even remember what my life before her crimes happened. I don't remember what that was because the bitch affects me. Okay. Her crimes affect me. Her selfishness, her greed, her whatever the hell, her control issues, her beliefs, they F with me. They F with my family. They changed my entire family, not just me. They, I mean, this did a number of, it did a huge damage on my own mom and my mom and Larry. We've all changed. You get to where you don't even know how to like talk. I don't know where they're at in their grief. I handle it differently. I'm fully immersed, have been. And so I always talk about it because it's all I do. And so they might be wanting to be more present. I haven't gotten there yet. I know I need to be. I don't know when that's going to be, and I'm like, God dang, it's already been 6 damn years. Shit, where'd the time go? Yeah, it's so crazy. So crazy. Charles is my uncle. Yeah, he was my uncle. Yeah. JJ was my only nephew. See, that's my brother, and that is JJ. I need to pull that picture over there too, because that's my uncle and that's my nephew. My uncle adopted my nephew. So it's I would love to. I would love to. I actually reached out to I don't know if I reached out the right way though. To Tim Kosnoff, I think that's his name. He was the he's been on Mormon Stories with John. He's been a representative of a lot of the Boy Scouts of America victims, and he's down there in Houston. And I was like, oh my God, yes, because when he was talking, people don't understand unless you research into the beliefs of Mormonism. You're not going to get it. You don't get it. Like you don't even want to hear what you got to say. Go do some work, come back, go do your little prerequisites. Okay. Because you at least need to get a basis of why Lori says what she said, why these people believe what they believe and do what they do, and the cultural aspects of it and geographical aspect of it, the Mormodor, and just how they are in-house with, all the stuff and their dog whistles, I call them, because I mean, you got to be in the know, so to speak, to know what they're even talking about. How are they using scriptures? Scriptures I've never heard of before because they're not in the damn Bible. Okay. They're Mormon scriptures. There's very Nephi, Laban, never heard of them. Didn't know about Korhor. I was like, who the hell's Korhor? Here I am writing it on my shirt. And I'm like, wait, whoa. Before I did, I was like, let me Google it. Okay. Because I could be, blaspheming some deity or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to piss everybody off, but this has just been my way of processing it. And yeah, he definitely knows his shit. And it feels so relieving to know that I'm not crazy. Okay. I'm not crazy. This is just, there are so many different narratives at play and people spinning it to, to Bennett. I don't know for what. It's so different. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. I saw Powell and yeah, you saw what I did. Just brought to mind the creepy as hell recordings of Josh Powell's dad singing about Susan. Oh my God. Given they were Mormons, it sheds a lot more light on how Josh and his family killed Susan and boys. They're reminiscent to me of the Coxes as far as like the boundaries, not having any enmeshed. It's very interesting. I remember listening one day to Charlie, the little boy. It's so tragic. That is so tragic what happened in that family, and her still not even being found yet. It bothers me too. And again, through different lenses, right? We're learning about, yes, this culture, this belief system. Why do people do what they do? And this is a huge aspect that goes into knowing and getting to the bottom of it. Lori and Chad really, really think at their core, Other than that, It's crazy. And I mean, it is easy. A lot of people have been just like, she was selfish. She's just crazy. She's crazy. Okay. I agree. However, let's continue to talk about this, Let's get to the bottom of it. Yes, she's crazy, but what created this? What created Chad? What created their understanding and just being so normalized? That's even creepier. That's scary. That is alarming to me. Oh, he did. He called himself Steve. What? Chantry or Chantry? Yeah, Illuminating Ink. I don't know if I put that on there, but yeah, would love to. Well, maybe a little. What? What are you doing? How are you doing? How you doing? Oh, I'll have to look closer into that. That is a good one though. Interesting last name, right? Crazy. Again, I don't think you have these moms and these people who treat their children this way just because, I mean, it's okay. Yeah. Woo. They're fringe. Okay. Let's just say they're fringe and they just went off the deep end. Okay. Then why is Ruby doing it? And why is Jody doing it? And why are the people around them, like the Melanie Gibbs, like the Pam Botchers, like, I don't really know who's all around Hamblin except for other people that are accused of this heinous shit. And their beliefs in like Satanism. I mean, just Satan, period. How Jesus and Satan are brothers. And so if Chad is quote unquote, or if the church actually does this too, because the church, once one goes through the second anointing, think about this. And Carolina said it best one day. I was like, yeah. Just okay. So if the belief is in the system that Jesus and Christ are brothers, and they believe that Lucifer is actually the firstborn, and then Chad, no, let me leave Chad out of it right now. But the church, when you go through this exaltation, you go to this second realm, this realm above where the celestial realm now. Okay. And that is where the church of the firstborn exists. Okay. It's not actual real, not on this plane, not this earth life, but it does exist on their second level of glory. They have 3 degrees of glory. This says visions of glory. You understand? Okay. So the 3 degrees of glory are telestial, where we are now. The second one, leveling up, is the terrestrial. Okay. Then you go up to the highest degree of glory, and that is the celestial. You've got the prophet talking about being more celestialier, or whatever the hell he says. You've got, it's very, it's like they do the brunt of it, and then it's easy for, I'll say, I don't want to say that. I mean, I want to, because I feel like it's the truth. I feel like they're all serving the Dark Lord anyways, just like Carolina said. I mean, just with how they confuse things a great deal, and they're not victim oriented. They're not here to help people. They're here just to help themselves, in my opinion, through past behavior. Okay. So many people being hurt and harmed and abused by systems just like the LDS Church. Just fill in the blank. Okay. Because it's these systems that we put our trust into, because sometimes we're just born into them and we don't know any better. We don't know any different. We think what we are told, we're just like, oh, there's blue aliens over there. Yeah, don't go over there. Have you ever seen that movie? Oh my God. The Village. Perfect movie. Perfect analogy. Okay. Because they're like, I don't know the words, but, they are like this culture or whatever, the civilization or community that exists. And you would think they're Amish people or something. no television. You don't even know when it is in history. But so the girl, I don't know, she's blind or whatever. I haven't seen it in so long. But so anyways, I'm not good at summing things up either. So tell your friends, okay? But so, I mean, they're basically taught that outside of our fences, outside of our gates, is, I forget, some evil ones or whatever. And anyway, so the girl finds out because she has to go and find medicine to help her boyfriend or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm going to stop because I feel silly. But go watch it or go read about the village, because this is very reminiscent of what it's got to be like for someone to find out that they actually live in a world with all kinds of different people that aren't evil, that but they've been raised to just know this much, and so that's got to be, it does that too. Yes, I mean, but that also, yes. Now, so Chad talked about oh damn, I'm going long. I can't help, we got a lot to talk about, man, especially with D-Day coming. Hold on just one second. Let me grab it. I already have it pulled up. I just need to find the tab. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is Detective Nesbitt from Hawaii. Just listen. Just hear me out. Okay.
Money, and when he was looking through the credit cards, he handed them to me to put inside a plastic bag to give back to Lori whatever he didn't need for the investigation. And then when he passed them to me, I looked through them again, and I saw one with the name. I saw a credit card with the name of Tyler Ryan.
Okay. So when you found the items with the credit cards and the card with Tyler Ryan's name, did that stick out to you?
Well, yes, it did.
Okay, why?
Because she was part of the missing children that we were helping them look for.
Okay. So what did you do with the card that was in Tyler Ryan's name?
That was held back, and then I put it back in the car.
Okay. When you say held back from the stuff that the defendant was going to be allowed to take herself?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you put it in the car. Where did you put it in the car?
On the front seat.
Okay. And then was the car itself searched after the defendant was given some personal effects?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay. And was that search documented in any way?
Yes, it was.
Okay. How was it documented?
Very carefully.
Documented. We execute the search warrant, and then we recover whatever evidence that we need for our investigation. We bag it and tag it, put the report number, and there's a property number that goes on there, and then I sign my initials on there.
Okay. And does anybody take any effort to take photographs of that process?
Yes.
Okay. And were photographs taken of the search of Lori Vallow's car in Hawaii on January 26, 2020?
Visions of Glory was in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to look at those photographs?
I have.
Okay. I'm going to hand you what has been marked States Exhibit 234Z. I apologize, 234A through Z, a copy of which has been provided to the court as a courtesy, and a courtesy copy has been given to defense counsel before today.
Can I clarify one thing?
One moment, we'll do that in just a second. Okay.
She's like, no. Come on, Rachel.
And in the A through Z, are there any missing letters in there, Ms. Smith, just to clarify? I didn't look yet. I'm just.
I don't believe so, Judge, but
Okay.
Sadly, crazier things have happened.
Oh my gosh, I hate when they take these long blanks, long blackouts of silence.
Oh, I have.
Would you like to clarify?
I wasn't sure what the date was that you said on.
I'm trying to get to the damn.
4Z.
And he's looking at an exhibit. I just heard my mom clear her throat. You hear it? No. Oh my gosh.
The objects in the pictures I've recovered. Well,
I think these are sigils.
Okay, so was it your responsibility to obtain the evidence that's depicted in those pictures?
Yes, it was.
And then what did you do with the items that you collected?
They were bagged and tagged, sealed with evidence tape. My signature was put on them along with the report number and a property number, and then they were turned into the evidence locker.
And when you located those items in the car, do the state's exhibits 234A to 234Z both depict the location of where you found those items
Yes,
and are true and accurate depictions of some of the items you found?
that is correct.
I move for the admission of State's Exhibit 234A to
That's Satan, huh?
234Z.
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Any objection?
I'm glad you're here, Texas Roadrunner.
Exhibits 234A through
I love her
Z,
channel too.
which contain
Her
each
perspective
fields
is
alphabetically are all admitted.
needed. It is so absent from a lot
Thank
of
you. I request permission
analyzation,
to display for the
analyzing.
jury.
You may publish that.
All right, come on. Holy shit. They just do.
That was loud.
Yeah, it was loud.
Okay.
What is
The
reflected?
rental vehicle of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, 2019 Black Ford Explorer.
And where is the car located when these pictures are taken?
The car is located inside the evidence warehouse.
Okay. And is that where you did the search and collected the evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
What is depicted in State's Exhibit 234B?
That's the front driver's seat of the vehicle with her purse on the front seat.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned you would put the credit card or the card of Tylee Ryan back in the car. When you put it back in the car, where did you initially put it?
On the front seat.
Okay, near her purse?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it visible in this picture?
No, it's not.
Okay. What happened to the card of Tylee Ryan after you put it back in the car?
I presume that it slipped to the side when I was loading the car on top of the tow truck for the evidence tow.
And why do you presume that?
Because I had it on the front seat and then I jumped into
Oh my gosh.
assist with the tow, with the evidence tow. And then it was later found on the little in between the driver's seat and that in the bottom of the door.
This is taking too long.
Let me show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 234C. What's that?
That's a more close-up shot of her purse.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yes. What did he say?
Oh, hell.
He
That's
wrote
not it.
on a sticky
Hold on.
note, Lori Ryan Daybell.
Hold on.
And did he?
I'll ask a better question.
All right.
That's a patient clinical summary with a
we
bunch of
go.
sticky notes on it.
And can you read the names at the top?
These are things that he found in their possession.
Or do you need me to zoom in?
The top of the summary or the sticky notes?
I'll ask a better question. The top of the typed paper.
I can't read. Excuse me. I can't read the name on that.
Oh my gosh. It's like pulling teeth.
Lori Vallow.
Okay. And then you indicated there's some stickies. It's the blue stickies we see in the picture?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see any of the information on those?
I don't know what any of those mean.
Okay. Are there various words?
Yes.
Okay. Starting at the bottom, do you see what's the word at the words at the bottom? Can you read it?
I'm not. I can see it, but I don't know what that word is. If it says gens or
And now is it GI or
And I think
JE?
that I'm going to object here. I think that the exhibit speaks for
GIN?
itself. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know anything about these
Shush.
specific lack of
Hold on, I'm gonna
foundation
pass
for him
this
to be
up.
able to words that go towards your direct. You can ask on those.
Okay, thank you. The sticky note down here, can you read the words?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Thank you, Judge. Can you read the words?
I can read Blake and Hilpus.
Okay.
Iplos.
And then there's a sticky note above that. Does that appear to be the word Brandon?
Objection, leading. Sustained.
I'm gonna stick this.
What's the word you see above that?
Brandon.
Okay. And do you see a word below that?
Yes.
And if you want to spell it, that's fine.
ANGO.
Okay. And then there's a sticky note above the name Brandon or the word Brandon.
Yes.
What is that?
Gomad and twice. One written in cursive and one written in regular print, and the word hope.
Okay. And then there's sticky notes to the left side. Is that the word Brighton?
Objection, leading, Judge.
I was just trying to move it forward, Judge. I can ask him. Can you read that word?
Yes, Brighton.
Okay, thank you. And do you see, if you need to spell it, do you see words below that?
ILRON.
Ilron.
And then there's a sticky note down below. Can you read that?
I cannot read that one. I can read the one below it.
Excuse me.
Judge, I think now we're getting into a point where she's blowing things up to a point where it's being
Distorted.
prejudicial.
Well, unfortunately, Judge, with the lighting in here, it's hard for him to
Wait,
see.
I'm
Can I have
gonna
him
skip
handed
on
the hard
down.
copy?
Here we
There's
go.
also a light on that projector.
Seeing the original would be better. I can't decipher that. And
May he be handed back State's Exhibit 2. You're able to see it?
no, I'm sorry. I can only see the bottom one.
And the bottom one is?
Gladius.
Okay, thank you. May I have that back?
Okay, all of that. I'm sorry. Okay, to say that just when I heard this again, I've heard it before 2 years ago in Lori's trial, of course, and it brought me to this. Like, I looked up those names or whatever, right? You just think it's gibberish, right? But when you think about Hiplos or Eplos, however you say it, they say the H is silent, so Eplos. Then you think of Ilron, you think of Gladius, and so it brought me to sigils. And then this brings me to Joseph Smith origins, where he's practicing black magic and all kinds of shit. So, like, what is a sigil? A sigil is a type of symbol used in magic. The term usually refers to a pictorial signature of a spirit. Okay. In modern usage, especially in the context of chaos. Right? Do tell. Sigils are symbols used in ritualistic magic to harness your positive energy, unless you're wanting negative energy, I'd say, hope and will into action. So I could so see Chad doing this because of the pendulum, because of Nate Eaton showing us the inside of Chad Daybell's house. Whenever they were we didn't know, but they tore the house down the very next day. And that's just so interesting to me because holy shit. Whenever I Googled some things that were written on Chad Daybell's wall, where Spring Creek Book Company, they used to have a sign there, Nate said, and there was Ray's playpen was written on the wall as well. And I was like, well, isn't that the Ray they're talking about and not actually Alex Cox? Anyways, it comes down to interpretation. But I mean, how could you know if, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've had to dive this shit. And it's like, this kind of stuff tracks with what they were doing, what they were practicing, what they were harnessing, what they were desiring. and that was to rid the world of zombies, to get rid of their obstacles, to you know. I'm looking for it right now. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me do Nate Eden so I can show you what I'm talking about, and we'll wrap up. I know. I need to. It's just interesting to me. It's so interesting. Let's see. Right here. So I Googled what this said. You know, of course, Nate read it out loud. And I mean, this is interesting because they took all the other things down, cleared out the house because I guess the owners, which the name of their freaking organization is called Crossroads, which goes with the Skull and Bones theme, if you're looking at the symbolism and stuff. So, I mean, from following like the Hamblin situation and how Joe Binion has won in court, filing an injunction against Goel, who has been looking into and investigating the claims made by the Hamblin daughters and other victims of SRA. It's interesting because Joe Binion did all this because they perceived Ken Krogh allegedly as a threat because Ken Krogh allegedly went to Joe Binion's, I guess, his business, his place of business, where he dusted off his boots in the doorway. And in Mormonism, it symbolizes. Can I say that again? Symbolizes. He didn't actually make a threat, allegedly, against the Binions. He showed up in the doorway, dusted off his boots, and Joe Binion allegedly took that as a threat. And here we are with the court outcome allegedly restricting a journalist from reporting on crimes and alleged crimes. So it's like, what? Anyways, but I've Googled this, you know, this is Calf Heaven. Forget, I can't really see it. Anyways, I Googled this immediately. I saw that I was watching this for the first time and I was like, what the hell is that? That is weird. And this Ray's playpen. I was like, okay. So who's Ray? Why is it on Chad's wall? And this is where Spring Creek Book Company used to be, on this wall, allegedly. Anyways, I still want to know where Tylee was murdered. Here we go. Found something finally. Now will it play? A bloodline thing, right? That's what I'm kind of.
This, you can see that the cement needs repair, but this was where the tools were kept. And we go in here.
Oh, I'm going to do this.
The new owners tell me that when they came, this said Spring Creek Books.
It also says Ray's playpen. Okay. I'm sorry. I reported it like this.
Kind of ran
it.
Business. There was signs and it was stacked with books. And an interesting sign that was here, probably from before Chad's time.
Brings you to witchcraft. Why?
This is Calf Heaven idea is to preserve life.
So the prices?
It is not easy, but a fun challenge. God be with us. Thanks.
That's
I don't
weird.
know what that means.
It's not very
scriptural. This sign was over there.
Because I Googled it. Sorry, y'all. I'm not doing that right now.
This sign was over there.
I recorded it.
And when they came, it was moved.
And that's weird.
So I don't know. And then when you go out this door, so this was, again, remember in court, we saw the pictures of the tools laid out. Laid them out in the shed.
I don't know.
Through here.
It could be another alter ego of Chad. I don't know. Ray, you know. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's the only part of the clip I have. I know I probably have a longer video. Knowing me with with all the stuff I have recorded because of the crimes of Lori and Chad. Let's see what this is. That's 1:28. Let's see. 7:42. This might be it.
Look, the back driveway and the back of the house, and right over here, we walk inside. Well, before we do that, actually, just right down here is where they believe Alex
Oh my God.
in the truck. And so he
Oh my
walked down
God.
this area. This all happened.
That was a tool.
In October.
This was a tool
when Tammy
outline.
was shot at. So really, about a month from
Like a
now,
vice, I
the
think.
conditions will probably be a little bit drier.
Why?
It's possible some
I
of
don't
this
know.
could have been burned off, but
I don't know
pretty
how
much
long
this
video
time
is.
of year,
Here, it'll show
he
it
would
though.
have walked down here, assuming he was going to fire at Tammy this way, but it didn't happen. And if we walk in through this fence, it's right.
Shit, you
right
never
over
want
here was where the fire pit is, on the other side of this fence, and that's where they found the remains of Tylee, and then JJ was further back. But you could have entered that property. There's another way to enter. You could have backed a truck into here and opened up that gate down there if you needed to, and pull a truck right out there.
And it's so pretty.
Or even right there, you can see there's
the
a fence that someone could drive across the property
mountains.
and get right
It's
to
so
it.
pretty.
So it's easy access.
Not the property,
once those
but
gates are open and once you're in a vehicle, in case, you know, Alex
looks
did
can
come
be
and
deceiving
need to
though.
dispose of it. But this was the backyard. You think about, you know, so many people have said, how did Tammy Daybell not know about this? You know, it was right outside her back door. Well, really, that's the back door to that's the cozy cone, as they called it, the loft area that has 2 stories. There's the door to go inside there. It's not right outside. I mean, there is some distance, and so if something had been burning there, and she was working all day, I don't know. I don't think she was out here often, you know, roaming the pasture area. So it wasn't like it was right here on this grass. Still fairly close, but not super close. JJ's remains were further back, and really Tylee was disposed of and killed first at the beginning of September. So Tammy was here for about a month, a little over a month around that time, between the time Tylee died and the time Tammy died, and then a few weeks with JJ being further back. So that's kind of a look at the backyard area.
Yeah, I don't think it was either.
Again, the fences were not here when this happened. The fence is
Chad's
new.
a practicing
Well,
Satanist.
I shouldn't say new.
Okay.
It's new since the case broke, but really it's several years
and
old.
on a yard.
And
to clarify though, this is pasture that's been fenced.
Yeah, this fence was here. The exterior fence around the home was not here, the one where the no trespassing signs are.
And then if we were to entertain, like, let's just take what like has been alleged in the Hamblin daughters' statement. They allege that the group or the alleged Church of Satan, LDS Church of Satan, this group that exists within the group, which I think is exactly what Glenn L. Pace his memo was about. I believe that he most likely interviewed some of Hamblin's alleged victims. I believe that this has not gone away. Just how could it? Because it's never been addressed, acknowledged, properly dealt with, properly exposed, and through the justice system. I mean, still here we are. It is 2025. And these allegations go back. So like to the early 90s, late 90s, mid 90s, a lot of this kind of stuff was breaking loose, and then when you look at other systems and other cases of corruption and just mishandling of all kinds of shit, okay, losing stuff, discovery, evidence, people dying, never being able to just really hold these people accountable because of their elite status or bloodline relation. Some people wiggle out of it, or a great deal of these people tend to wiggle out of it. And so we're just dealing, in my opinion, what it looks like, if I can talk in conspiratorial terms. I mean, what Lori and them were doing, the things that she said to my uncle that she's ushering in the second coming of Jesus Christ. And I've come to learn and believe that this is exactly what Tim Ballard and people like Chad Daybell, I mean, these people are all in the same circle, just, depending upon how you look at the affiliations. Again, I think that the fact that Chad Daybell's Spring Creek Book Company sponsored a freaking Operation Underground Railroad race the very weekend that Tylee was murdered is sus as F. Okay. Oh, I almost said it. That is so suspicious to me. Alarming. Even, that's the same race that we were always under the impression that Tammy was training for. We thought she was training for a race, but she was not. She was an actual volunteer. She's photographed at the finish line with some of her other kids and their wives and husbands or whatever, their spouses. And here we are. Chad and Lori aren't there. They're not present for the sponsorship. You're holding this whole event. You're a cheap ass dude who wants what everybody else has. You want what my uncle had. You want to be viewed as somebody like my uncle, but you're too damn lazy to go and become this yourself. You're too jealous. I mean, look at his brothers. They went to go be successful in their lives, and and I mean, he's over here just basically plotting. Okay, that's how I see it. And like telling Jason William and Samantha, telling Jason William that the city of Rexburg is this place of safety, of refuge, but basically Samantha can go south and you and the kids can come north. Basically, like south meaning, I believe she's dark, because Samantha was calling his ass out in some sense, anyways, it's just really interesting, the dynamics of it all. I would really love to know about Chad's sister, Becky, and the drug usage and addictions that are alleged to be happening or happened. More of the dynamics of Chad's upbringing. I would love to read his first little 3rd grade novel book or whatever about a murderer. But the fact of Chad writing about killing 120 bees, it kind of goes with the whole theme of SRA claims that they are tortured with, he would have had to have been, I believe, would have had to have been also a victim of SRA, just like I think Lori would have had to have been a victim of SRA. To what degree, I don't know. Same with Chad, with Alex. I believe he would have been assigned to be her protector. Now, Jesse Zaboter has, no, not Jesse. There's a lady named Veronica Swift, I want to say, who wrote this book, and it's called The Illuminati Primer. And she writes about, she research people kind of like what I'm doing, research other accounts of this stuff. And so a lot of her research tends to rely on Jesse Zaboter, who alleges she's an SRA survivor, and the different forms of abuse, the mothers of darkness, the different elements that go into this New World Order bringing on system. It's to bring on and usher in the second coming of Christ. All right. But just not the one you are thinking. That's not what they mean. They mean their Christ, their Satan, that's who they worship. They do it privately. They do it secretly. They say Lord, they say Jesus, they say Christ, they say Savior, but they really are praying to Satan. Okay. This is how it's been told. And because Lynn Packer, it stands out to me because the end of his video op-ed number 23, where I learned about Gordon Bowen for the first time, where I learned about David Hamlin and Tim Ballard. And I'm like, why are they in the same video? What is this? But when you look at the connections of M. Russell Ballard and Mitt Romney and Gordon Bowen's close relationship with Mitt Romney, they worked together on the 2002 Winter Olympics. They seem to, no, Mitt Romney was successful, but again, It's just like Tim was quote unquote prophesied by people like Tom Harrison here, Visions of Glory. Okay. Met with Chad and Lori I'm sorry, Chad and Julie in his Salt Lake City office, was teaching them how to fucking portal, which is astral travel. And then why, did he assign their missions? Why did they have 24 zombies they had to rid the world of? Like, what is going on here? And then why is Tim Ballard allegedly reporting about ketamine trips and these self-induced or drug-induced freaking visions? And Lori's all of a sudden, I have a near-death experience, okay? And Chad's so-called near-death experiences, Julie Rose so-called near-death experiences. It's all bullshit. And now there may be some trauma there. I don't doubt that, okay? There's definitely all kinds of victimization going on. But, I mean, there's something more at play here. And again, I've learned that, from reading Program to Kill by Dave McGowan, learning about how a lot of these murders, like Koberger, like Chad and Lori Daybell, like, I mean, the Manson murders, the Son of Sam, different, all the big ones, for sure that you've read about, Ted Bundy, just all these murders. There's always, it's like they're a cover or a front of something more sinister going on behind it. It's like these cover organizations or front organizations. And I mean, again, I sound like Chad damn Daybell, but that's what these kind of are. And it's like either a distraction or it can very well be a product of said organizations and said dark work going on, behind the scenes. And I mean, it appears to me to be like preparing a people, aka Latter-day Media, aka the Firm Foundation, the Firm Expo, aka any other one of these speaking engagements that these assholes go on. In my opinion, they seem to be the front organization, the face, if you will, the image that they want to project to you. But really what's going on behind closed doors, is some really effed up shit. This is where your children are abused. This is where they're being victimized, tortured, brought to the brink of death, only to have a representative of Satan be there to rescue them. And so it's like Stockholm syndrome, and they become like Madeline Soto. I mean, just totally like, what is going on here? It's so gross, but it's so apparent. I mean, it can be when you do your research. And just, again, I didn't seek this stuff out. I just wanted to know where Chad and Lori's beliefs, what made them cult and cult leaders versus the rest of their church's beliefs. Why all of a sudden are we just like distancing? Nope, that's not us. Because I mean, of course, who would want to align with murderers of child murderers? Who? Okay, they're like But my thing is, they create this ideology, they create this extremist view, this this breeding ground, okay, of toxicity and just inverted thinking, okay, where the actual victims or the children become the perpetrators, and they're offending, and they're demons that need casting out. They are opposite of the Ruby Frankies and the Jodies and the Lories and the Chads. They're bad. They're dubbed bad. I'm sorry, I can't clear my throat. And so no, no, I'm afraid not. There's something more sinister going on back here. And just because maybe some people haven't stepped away, I'm gonna have to mute. I have to clear this. Yeah, exactly like that. Exactly. It's a front. Just like Chad Daybell's Spring Creek Book Company, Operation Underground Railroad. You can say the Eternal Core, which was Ken Krogh and Tom Harrison's organization, where Jody and Tim Ballard went and spoke at. these people, this network of people who, I mean, we've got the head coach, Mike Tomlin from Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh yeah. I mean, and it goes to like Tony Robinson, who, I mean, he's the associates, obviously really good associates with Dr. Bradley Nelson, who created this whole emotion code book, that Zalema energy healing book, that or practice courses that Julie Rowe attended, that Zalema attended, that Chad and Tammy Daybell attended and got certifications in. I mean, so much so that, I mean, even Tammy, there were emails of Tammy and Chad, and I think some of their kids, about rating a child at, I forget what it's called or what it was, but a child in church, and 4.2 dark. That was before Lori came around, you know, as far as I know. And yeah, it does. Illuminating ink. It's so wild. And I can't believe I'm even saying that, you know, like, I can't believe I came to this conclusion or this. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I'm saying. I like kind of looked up, inadvertently was like, oh shit, that's what they mean by the Antichrist. That's what they mean by, you know, ushering in Jesus Christ. No, that's not at all what they're doing. And I mean, so if you really look at how that conspiracy has been portrayed, that started a long time ago. Okay. Like in the 60s, right? I mean, probably before that. I haven't gone that far. I mean, all the way back to Hitler, all the way back before that. It's just like this huge conspiracy. And I mean, I'm like, oh my God, how did my aunt's murders uncover, rip the Band-Aid off of the Carlos Slim. He was the richest man in the world, and friends with the Rothschilds. And when you look at the Hamblin statements, it's all about bloodlines and who's they all compete with each other, and then they have like these little beefs and stuff. And why is there like this competition going on? But it's like they don't even know what they're competing for. They're just like, they all just want to like win and just be the best and come in first. And it's weird. So I believe this really does, how my aunt's murders uncovered a global conspiracy is beyond me. Okay. This is stuff I never knew about it. Okay. First off, I heard about some stuff, but I mean, I don't think I'm a conspiracy theorist. I follow the evidence that they've left me, and that their cohorts have left. And this is where it led me. It led me to the belief of, or to the understanding that there's this church within a church, or this organization or group within this bigger group, cult within a cult, whatever you want to call it. They get off on this kind of stuff. They are doing this to children. They are putting, trigger warning, they're putting plastic bags on their children's heads, bringing them to the brink of death. Or in JJ's case, for sure, he had a white bag on his head. I mean, it's not outlandish. And so, did they just go too far with it? I mean, what is the point of turning up the pain? What is the point of doing this to these victims and scaring them and creating parts and MK Ultra shit? I mean, it's all crazy, but it aligns with the rest of the story. It doesn't just stop with Chad and Lori. That's the concerning part. And I mean, I don't know, just now that I've been aware or become aware of it, I'm like, I can't look away. I can't. Who could look away from this? There's so many people who are exploited, and their victims, countless victims lying in their wake. You got Operation Underground Railroad out here raising millions and tens of millions of dollars in donation money. Yet Chad Daybell with the cozy cone over here, the one who, you know, depended on his wife to bring home the bread. And you telling me he sponsored like Tim's organization, so they didn't just speak on the same circuit together. They actually, what? like, make it make sense. And so I do believe that these are gatherings. And I mean that in the literal sense. Gatherings, if you go and look it up, it's had tracks with all the other magic shit that they're playing and practicing here. Conjuring up, literally casting out, having these witching circles, these casting circles, these seances. It goes, Joseph Smith did it too. He did seances straight up. They don't tell you all that though. That's not how I learned it. I learned that, okay, there's Mormons. They believe in a prophet, a living prophet. Not so much the ones that are dead. Okay. They have to suit their present, like it kind of like whenever they wouldn't allow black members to hold callings and stuff. And then in 1978, they got a revelation. And then, okay, so now it could change. And so that, and I mean, again, JJ was born. I mean, not born. He was born. I said that all wrong. JJ had, a little GHB in his system. Now, the medical examiner could not tell, or he didn't say, but it just was alarming to me because he's 7. First off, we don't know that about Tylee, at least to my understanding. We don't know that because of how she was handled. And so just the fact of that, and just, again, following this Hamblin case, reading all I can about it, and I couldn't really do that at first. I couldn't allot my time or my brain span. Okay. I was just like, oh my God, I don't think I can handle much more. This case, Lori and Chad's case, is enough. It's huge. It's voluminous, so to speak. So just that right there. But then as it kind of subsided, they were indicted. Chad and Lori were indicted in Idaho. And then, her mental health, which is interesting all in of itself, how that played out. But I believe there's corruption in every case. I do, some level. Okay, I understand. Some of it's like, okay, whatever, but I mean, their main job is it to clean up the streets, or is it to win? Sometimes. And at what cost? At whose cost? I'm so sick of my family being re-victimized. And I mean that in the victims, because they're the heart of the matter. But they get re-victimized so many times in this that it's sickening. It's sickening big time. And so there's a fine line whenever it's exploited, and it's being exploited and still being exploited after they're not missing anymore, after they're not on the NCME National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Just these organizations, right? They're really, they sound good, they look good, they feel good, And I mean, again, the feels. Just because, I mean, you can put lipstick on a pig or whatever. I mean, you can do whatever, as long as you have people who give you power, who give you the platform, who are paying you money, okay, for you to abuse them, basically. That's how I see the church. I mean, that's the conclusion I came to, was, holy shit, this is so horrible. You don't need a middleman. You don't have to have a middleman to talk to God and have a relationship with God. Okay? Tell your friends. Y'all know I say that all the time. Tell your friends. And it's just, it hurts to sit here and watch and learn, through my research, and just kind of look up and just be like, holy crap. This is just one big exploitation cycle. And then your members are learning that monkey see, monkey do, that's what you're taught. So, I mean, of course it's right. Especially if you have Christ attached to it. Okay. Holy crap. And so people are hiding behind the guise of being Christians and Christ followers, and you're like, I don't think so. It don't really appear that way. you say that, I hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, but your behaviors and your actions are not aligning with what is coming out of your mouth. So that's the grift, I do believe. And there are no consequences, right? Thomas Harrison is a Pied Piper, in your opinion. Yeah, our opinion. I'll share that one with you. Hey, Tom, I'm glad you're here again. Oh, man. Yeah. I did the same thing that you did, which was seeking justice through understanding, just trying to understand why, how did we get here? I've said that so many times along this journey. Like, how did we get here? And it would be different if, anything that Chad and Lori did after the fact, if it would bring the victims back, and breathe life into them again, but it is not. Again, my nephew is in this necklace, part of him. So they come back in a different form. If we're lucky enough to be a family who had missing children and then they're actually found. Wow. It's like winning the lottery, I swear. Because there are so many families out there who, it's just, oh my God, just thinking about it, it's just so heavy. At least we have those answers. At least we got to, somewhat bring them home. Chad and Lori tried to, no, they didn't try. They dictated everything. They controlled everything. They exploited their victims in every way, shape, or form, and they're still doing it right now. Every time they appeal, every time they run their mouth, okay, they are shitting on the memories of and the legacies of their victims, trying to. I mean, straight up to the point of even blaming Lori, her own actions on her freaking daughter is so... is there even anything like more evil than evil, or like more diabolical, more depraved? I don't even know. I don't think there is. There's no ceilings with this one. She has no... I don't know where her bottom is, basically. Yeah, yes. You can only speak with God if you pay tithing on at least 100K per year. Who does that, And then that's a rhetorical question, because I know, I have my uncle's receipts right here from when he paid tithing. And it's, again, another system that failed him and his little children, and then ultimately failed Tammy, who served this church, Chad, who served a calling in this church at the time. And, in the Hamblin case, they allege that there are people holding callings just like Chad, who had access to meeting houses just like Chad, who practiced the dark arts just like Chad, allegedly. And so why would I think Chad's any different? I don't. I think he's right there. And if he's not part of that group, it's definitely somewhere in the realm, in the same circles of even the Hamblin case. The same people. I mean, Chad was, he was born in Utah. I want to say Provo. I don't really remember right offhand, but I mean, him and Tammy lived in Springville, Utah. We have that person here from Springville. And then Jody was, so there's the southern Utah. And so geographically, it seems to be that there's the same group. That's the Wasatch Front. That's what I'm telling you. That's what Bishop Glenn Pace wrote about back in 1990 or 1989. I'm sorry. And he didn't write about it. He did. He wrote a report, and he was tasked by, I want to say the Utah Attorney General at the time, and Colleen Bangeter. I remember that name. Remember Bangeter with Adam Steed? He kept saying Bishop Bangeter or something. So, anyways, I don't know. It just makes me wonder about the initial formation of said committee, so to speak. Is it really for people in their best interest, or is it really made to make things, appear as a security for the public, but are actually protecting the abusers? Just wondering. I mean, I can ask questions, right? Doesn't mean they'll be answered, but I mean, eventually they will be. And they have. I've answered so many questions by just researching, and you guys in comments, like just reading under videos and in blog sections and stuff of all these different spectrum of beliefs, and like at least within this system, and just gleaning so much from just, they don't know I'm there in the comment section. They don't know that I'm at the bottom of the video and reading their comments and what their thoughts are, and no matter what it is. And so they're not trying to sway me one way or another. I'm just like, I didn't know this existed till I read this comment right here. And so could that be this? I mean, it's just been crazy. Oh my God. Okay. So let's talk about it. It's like CIA. I mean, I need to come up with something. Chia or something. CIA, get it? Haha. Anyways, the H is silent. Anyways, so is Tom Harrison a Strengthening of the Church committee member? He's on a committee where, in a missionary related, like, doesn't he like say whether a missionary, I would say, worthy enough, which is kind of goes par for the course with rating somebody. Just saying, like, where do you want to go with this? Because it's there. Okay. The whole Melanie Pulowski saying that Brandon was gay, according to her quote unquote gay meter or G meter that she had envisioned while in the temple. First off, can we stop with the secretive freaking organizations? Okay. I mean, that's a secret organization right now. We don't know what they do in there, but they let us go in there before initiation. You know what? I found out we have a lodge here that just rededicated. I was like, oh shit, no way. And so they opened it to the public before they dedicated it. And I'm not playing, and I'm not trying to be sensational or anything, but I don't know. My brain picks up like just themes, and I'm just, we all do. But I mean, so I noticed that whenever the brethren, because my friend Jen had sent me this, it was a video of the Hosanna shout. And I was like, what is this? And I played it and I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of very, it made me wonder, and no, it made me aware of like how big the church is. And I mean, that was a video from way back, but I'm looking, hold on just one second. So that, again, I was just like, holy shit, that's a lot of people saying the same thing, on cue. Hosanna. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. That's what I'm trying to do. Find my way out of a wet paper bag. Because it makes me wonder if Tylee and JJ were part of a larger sacrifice, I don't know, ritual that is like this. Hold on. Let's see. Make sure I have the right one.
In a moment, I shall offer the dedicatory prayer in which all of you are invited.
And this is how we participate in Mass.
Immediately at the close of the dedicatory prayer, we invite each one of you who may wish to participate to stand and join with us in the.
Want to hear something else too? I mean, it just makes me wonder about things, because we've had people gift us handkerchiefs like this. But if you read the Hamlin documents, you're like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know what the intentions are behind that.
Hosanna shout.
Wonder.
This sacred salute to the Father and the Son is given at the dedication of each of the temples. I will now demonstrate the shout. Each one takes a clean white handkerchief holding it by one corner, and waves it while saying in unison, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb, repeated 3 times, followed by Amen, Amen, and Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, please
Now
stand
look,
if you will.
check it out. I was like, holy shit. It got real, real quick.
Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna to God and the Lamb. Amen, amen, and amen.
And you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. Just kidding. Let me turn that shit off. Ah, there you go.
President Benson has felt that
Where is it at? Okay. God.
he would
I
rather
just
have
do like a different color. You know, like yellow, not blend in with the damn tabs. Anyways, all right, y'all. I've kept y'all long enough. But it's been real. It's been fun, but it hadn't been real fun. Not the subject matter, at least. Hosanna, a poor girl is on fire. You're funny. I'm just saying. But yeah, I don't know. It plays into a much grander thing, of course. And then people will be like, "Oh, you're just crazy. You're just grieving. Whatever. Do what you will. Do as thou wilt." Okay. To quote Aleister Crowley, who actually was in contact with Joseph Smith, or he wrote about him. I follow Unfiltered Rise. I've had her on here, Heidi, who was Mormon, and she's exposing, this, and she's uncovering all kinds of shit, just like with the Rotary Club, with I want to say she calls it a Dendex or something, Permadex, the vault, with 20. Again, I bought this right before my uncle was murdered. And then, okay. Sorry. I straight up bought 2 of these kits, 23andMe, because I wanted to know my origins, right? Until I found out what the hell happens and who gets this information. And then I was like, sorry, I'm not for sale. Thank you. Okay, they already, baptized Anne Frank and Hitler even. They straight up did. Straight up. They were on the horn quickly to baptize Tylee and JJ when they were, or whatever, to do whatever they had to do with the temple stuff. Baptism of the dead and all, you know what I'm saying? All the rituals. It's just like, that is an invasion of my private. You're not asking. I'm not a member of your church. Therefore, do not pass me through your bulls. Okay. Your bull bowl. All right. I don't want to be, nah. And if it is like that in Mormon heaven or whatever in the afterlife, then we'll reconvene. Okay. And we'll discuss it at that time. If I want the true gospel or not, but right now you are just, it's so disrespectful because I didn't give permission, and it's just a clear overstepping by a landslide of boundaries, personal space, personal rights, personal beliefs. Believe what you want to believe. Leave me alone. I'm going to leave you alone. Just don't hurt anybody. If you hurt somebody, then it becomes my business. Okay. Especially if it's my family, then it really becomes my business. And with the way Chad and Lori were exploited my family, period, just by the ancestry. Because Lori, I had asked my mom at the same time, obviously, I didn't know that then, but I wanted to know who my great grandfather's parents were because he was adopted. And so, again, and then JJ was adopted. So I'm like, well, did Chad know Mandy? Did he know I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is he rating people off of? Is it just some random stuff? Or is this really going on? You know, are they rating my bloodline is what they're doing. The pedigree, in my opinion. Yours probably was rated or is going to be rated too. And so then you have Julie Rowe, who's like, yep, spirit, what'd she say? Soul trafficking. And I was like, what the hell is soul trafficking? Crazy. Can somebody explain what soul trafficking is? Because how are you going to be raising money with a 501c3 nonprofit organization gathering TGRF, the Greater Relief Fund? Then you have Nicole Earl, one of the 7 gatherers. She's in co-founder with another one of the gatherers, Christina Atwood. They co-founded Gathering Humanity. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Okay. Can't make it up. You just can't. Okay. So, and necromancy, big time. I mean, toss it in the trash, right? I would love to, but it's what they did with it. It's their intentions. It's what they're judging and rating people based off of their lineage. And that very well might be some kind of formula they have. I don't know. But the fact that they did that to my family, my actual, you know, because I had asked my mom about my great grandfather, you know, like I want to know, because I was filling out the little thing. I was signed on to ancestry.com or whatever, the one that gives you the leaf right before all this stuff happened. Or obviously, I found out later that at the same time that Lori was sending all this shit to Chad. And that's how my mom was like, oh, and again, this didn't register for me at the time, but I was like, I asked her about my great grandfather, his parents, her grandparents. And then she was like, I'll ask Lori. She was like, Mormons are really into genealogy. Didn't register it. Didn't know they were Mormon. Didn't even know because it was a non-issue. It was not important, you know, like when I would see my uncle and Lori when they'd come into town. I mean, they never tried selling me on the church, so I'd say shitty missionaries. I don't know. But I mean, and I knew that like JJ would climb in bed with Mom and Larry when he was in, and he would with a little notepad or whatever, and he would just want to do scriptures. They're not Mormon. But I mean, it's just like when a toddler hands you a fake phone, you say hello, you know, you do it because that's positive. It's good. You think it is. You think it's good. Learning about Jesus. I mean, what could go wrong? Oh my God. Everybody's killed. So many people have killed in the name of Jesus, but I really think that they're worshiping the Dark Lord, and Jesus is the scapegoat, more or less. So that's what it appears to be. But yeah, so Mom obviously contacted Lori. I get like 5 screenshots, I think. And I didn't even realize this till later on after that, even that they were live photos. So it's like, and Lori is reported in the FOIA docs, at least, that she would take pictures of the desktop. So it was an Apple desktop that my mom sent me screenshots of. You know, it'd be like me taking my old phone here and then just going, you know, and then so Mom sent me those pictures and of the genealogy of my family. And then turns out that's the same genealogy that she probably emailed to Chad and was like, rate my family. And then he's like, here's the family or whatever history documents that you requested. And that's the rating scale. And so, holy crap. No, it's so deep. There's so many layers to this. It's so deep. And I mean, again, I can't help not everybody feels offended or violated. I don't know how they look at it. It depends on how they view it. But when your family is actually murdered because they were rated according to this so-called whatever rating system, like a Hubert, it just becomes it's psychologically like, what? It messes with me. I ain't even playing. So I don't know what people's intentions are, but I know obviously through evidence through all the things we've learned, analyzing these people, Chad and Lori and their friends, the circle jerks. Their intentions did not appear to be good. So I don't care what the hell they say. I don't care if Melanie Gibbs says that she was there praying to Jesus. She was not. Okay. And if she was, it was her Jesus, her version of Jesus, her definition of Jesus, her understanding, whatever. Okay. But like I've learned in the Hamblin case, they call Satan and, I mean, they don't call Satan anything. Or I guess they do. I don't know. He and like they allege that David Hamlin was trying to invoke spirits into possessing people. Like he would ask for he would call upon demons allegedly to possess him. He was invoking allegedly. And so, and this happens with the Best Friends Animal Society too, allegedly, with the whole implant. I don't know how they do it. I don't freaking understand it. I don't know if they consider a demon like a shit, like a program, you know, like is this the programming and this the parts and these are the different names? Is this like different demons? I mean, there's so many different, it's so crazy. It goes so far up into the inner core, you know, of the world as we know it, period. End of story. It's just so cuckoo. It is, y'all. Anyways, I could go on and on and on. And I mean, it's because it's nuts. It's batshit crazy. But it tracks with all the other batshit crazy things, in my opinion. So one more thing. And then we'll go. I promise. Let me move this to you. So I found my screenshots of, I might have to refresh it because it's been open for a while. Let me refresh it real quick. Here you go. Here's the Lord's favorites. All right. Here you go. The Lord loves you, but he loves me more. Well, who taught her that? Okay. Yeah. She is crazy. But she's only I don't know. This is to her understand. It's like, what created this? Okay, crazy. Okay, crazy. I mean, because my uncle was right there. He's like at his wit's end. He does not know where to turn. Nobody is taking him seriously. Oh, yeah. I think the posters are over here. But anyways, this was Lori's one of the, I just have random pictures, I know. So the bat. And this is the request for scientific examination from Chandler from the FOIA docs. And so it is, let me read this. Okay, this is about the Rawlings bat that Alex said Charles was swinging at him and threatening his life with, justifying self-defense. So the bat, taking a deeper look at the bat involved in the alleged fight that led Charles Vallow being shot. According to Lori Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and Alex Cox's statement to Chandler PD, Charles Vallow snatched the Rawlings bat away from Tylee Ryan and then got into a physical struggle with Alex Cox. Cox was like, time out, you raging demon, you raging zombie. Okay, you are scaring me and threatening me. And so, hold on, time out. And so Charles just freezes. And then Alex goes, turns his back to the threat, goes to his room, his alleged room, his room for one night at his sister's house by premeditation, in my opinion, and by witness testimonies like Melanie Gibb. Goes in there, retrieves his quote unquote firearm, retrieves it, and then comes back. He's like, all right, game on. And then Charles just unfreezes and comes at him with a bat. And Alex tells him one time, what are you going to do? And he's like, put the bat down. And then Charles doesn't put it down. So he shot him to stop him, is what he said. Then he was like, well, hell, let me call my sister 2 times. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me grab my little notes on that. I just remembered this part. Sorry. There's one notebook. Where's the other? There it is. Okay. And then at shit. Hold on. It's like I get crazy. Okay, let's see. Where was it? Hold on. Hold on. Don't give up on me. It's on my iPad. I had it pulled up. Allegedly. Let's see. Back here. Okay. So right here. So this is from, again, this is from the Chandler police. Okay. I'm just showing you. All right. My screen, right? It's just I have a cover on it. So the screen's cracked. My fingers don't get to bleed though. So it says, it's very bright. All right. Alex lied. I'm saying this. Alex lied about not talking to Lori after he shot Charles. Upon examining Alex's Verizon records from the phone number of redacted, I was able to review some text content and call detail records. There are text messages between Alex and Lori in the days prior to the shooting, including Lori giving Alex her address. Kind of like Brandon, right? Okay. Her address, and then including Lori giving Alex her address, and then, and them planning on meeting in person. Okay. There were no text messages related directly to this event. I guess the meeting, I don't know. Where they meet at, in the temple or at their mom's. I don't know. Or Thunderbirds. All right. And then it says, I observed 2 calls. There were no text messages related directly to this event. In reviewing the call detail records, I observed 2 calls between Alex's phone and the phone. And shit, I lost my spot. And the phone number later identified to belong to Lori through T-Mobile as redacted just after the shooting. So 2 calls just after the shooting. One phone is Alex, the other phone is Lori. Okay, so it says the times for the calls were, now get this, Lori left the house. We know this from GPS records that Lori and Tylee and JJ left 5531 South Peaks, whatever, Drive at 7:49 a.m. Charles got there at 7:37 or 7:39. 7:37, I think. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. But so within 10, 12 minutes, Charles is dead. Okay. Then Lori, she claims to have heard the shot. But there were 2 shots. So which is it? Okay. So the times for the calls were 7:52 hours. So 50, 51, 52, that's 3. She left at 7:49. And then the calls were 7:52 and 8:06. So 7:52, 8:06. She left at 7:49. Charles got there like 7:37 or 7:39. The calls confirmed there were calls between Lori and Alex, even though Alex denied having spoken to Lori during my interview with him. There was a text message that stood out upon reviewing the text that was sent to Alex from Lori, calling Alex, and the text messages was sent from redacted on 7/9. So Chad was doing a podcast about patience, and here's Lori sending a text message to Alex on July 9th, 2019 at 21:50 hours, Arizona time, and is cut and pasted below. The message says things are coming to a head this week and says that Lori and Alex will be like Nephi. Why does it say Lori and Alex? Wouldn't that be Chad saying Lori and Alex? Or would Lori be like, we are both like Nephi? You know what I'm saying? That's interesting. On 7/10/2019, so the very next day, this is the day that Lori tells Melanie Gibb, girl, you got to go. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Okay. Because Melanie Gibb had been spending the night. There were some of her clothes even in the crime scene photos, evidence photos. On 7/10/2019, the day prior to the shooting, there was a message from Lori, again to Alex, that says the plot thickens, and asked them to call her. The text message will be pasted below. And so they did. They posted it below. And this is July 10, 2019. It says, getting sleepy. So, and this is it. It says 2150. Wait, whoa. Let me go up here and translate that. So 7/9, 7/10. It doesn't say what time. Anyways. So she says, getting sleepy, so I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple days. Mel, too. She can't go to Utah. They are planking some kind of intervention, but want Mel out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff. What stuff? What do you have to go get? That bothers some ain't right there. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and secure it. What stuff? I mean, did she slip him some more Xanax somewhere? But what stuff? What could that be? Like, what could that be? I'm legitimately asking. This is very bright. Let's see. And secure it. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. So there you go. There, that answers my question. And then it goes into the next message is July 17th. Charles Vallow's iPhone XR Max was downloaded by the Chandler Police Department's computer forensics unit. The contents of the phone examination were documented by Detective Duncan. Now, I know from reading Detective Werther's, which, I mean, he's really detailed, y'all. Holy crap. I've actually voiced this over, but I just have to edit it again, with all the other things. But, I mean, he's very detailed, and it turns out that Charles's phone's tracking was turned on. And I was just like, holy crap. Oh my God. Is this going to be like Maggie Murdaugh and like, be able to tell exactly who opened the phone when the last phone, you know what I'm saying? Because Lori had possession of it. It was all over this phone and him hiding his affairs and his cheating on her. And she's sitting there taunting him with it, allegedly. I mean, is it going to show like the step counter? Is it going to show like, back in the day, whenever I used to work at this plant, this refinery, and I would get like 6. I got a lot of steps per day. I don't want to sit here and lie, but it was a lot of steps in per day, per week, and everything. And I mean, I lost like 50 pounds quickly, but it would show your locations, and if you took 10 steps and then took a break, or if you how much of a incline you climbed that day. You climbed 7 stories, did you climb, what I'm saying? So there are things that do that. And then so we know that Charles had his stuff turned on. Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, girl, holy shit, it ties in with Scientology, and it's the Process Church of the Final Judgment, which is basically, allegedly, the front organization for, or I'd say, I don't know if it's front or it's deals with like the Manson murders, even some really sketchy people, and it ties in with David Levitt, allegedly, and how the Esalen Institute, the Tavistock Institute, which is where David Hamblin's dad and mom both worked at. They worked for them. They got government money from our government to try out David Levitt's whole, how you say it, Huggy? You said it earlier, but I can't remember. David Levitt, his concept of, just hold on. So these people are time consuming, huh? Training a child. Here we go. Let me share my tab.
We are learning more about the man arrested in Utah County on suspicion of
This might be it.
ritualistic child sex abuse and his ties to Utah County Attorney David Levitt, who will not be allowed to prosecute this case.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbets has tonight's update.
Well, there are a number of reasons why the Utah County Attorney's Office might have a conflict of interest, not just because Levitt named himself as a suspect earlier this year. He's also given multiple statements about his relationship with Hamblin and some of the alleged victims. As you're about to see, the nature of those statements have changed over the past 2 years.
Would you mind riding in the back of a police car?
Men and women allege David Hamblin used positions of power as a father, a therapist, a neighbor, and as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to ritualistically abuse children. He was arrested Wednesday morning, but investigators say he probably won't be the only one.
I have nothing to hide.
Until Hamblin's arrest, Fox 13 News chose not to identify any of the subjects of the investigation, but that did not stop Utah County Attorney David Levitt from outing himself as a suspect in June and describing his relationship with Hamblin.
I prosecuted the therapist in Juab County for poaching a deer. He poached a deer to use for ritualistic purposes. This therapist was my elders quorum president in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was my neighbor. I had a family connection.
During that same press conference, Levitt described his accuser as tragically mentally ill. She's one of the same women who accused Hamblin and others.
Shame on you for doing that. It's uncalled for. He said tragically mentally ill woman 5 times. To attack their mental health status as a way to discredit them, and it was clear that that's what he was doing, and that's just not okay.
There is no organized ring.
That tells me there is, in my opinion.
It was debunked.
But watch and listen. More than 2 years before that press conference, Levitt sat down for a different interview.
Not proven
was asked
wrong.
if he thought ritualistic sex abuse was real. He went on to describe Hamblin and his own accuser, calling her a victim.
Do I think that occurs? Yeah, I think it occurs. I know some victims of it. Yeah, I know some victims of it. I was not in a position to prosecute it. Who was into Native American stuff and kill deer and get deer hearts and drink their blood and drink the deer's
ritualistic,
blood. At the time, Levitt was under investigation by Homeland Security. These clips are now evidence in that case. We want to warn you, some of them are very graphic.
How do you train a dog to roll over when it's time to roll over? You do it by giving a reward.
Training.
And repetition. If a man wants to program some little girl to give immoral sex anytime he wants to, you start young and give rewards. I mean, it's unfortunately, I've never,
I thought he was going to redeem
it's the
himself
same
right
way
here,
you
but he did not.
help a child learn how to make their bed.
Mm-mm.
Yesterday, after Hamblin's arrest, we asked David Levitt through his spokesperson for a comment. We were told, no, he does not comment on pending cases. Apparently, that did not stop him in June.
Okay, so all kinds of effed up things going on here. Okay, this just is. I mean, how are you gonna be convicted of I mean, not SRing, but well, ritualistically killing a deer and whatever, doing whatever, drinking the blood for ritualistic purposes, but yet your daughters are alleging and other victims up to 140. This is like Diddy size, potentially, of people accusing these people, this elite in the Mormon world, elite circle of alleged sadistic, all this stuff, SRA, of alleged SRA. I'm having to, because I only am saying this because because I found one of the attorneys who's also Joe Binion's son-in-law. Okay, he was in my freaking Facebook Messenger. I was like, oh shit. I've been trying to stay off the radar for as long as possible, but looks like the cat's out of the bag. So if I start being harassed, and I just want to dot my I's and cross my T's and just say allegedly that I'm just discussing issues that, have to do with Tylee and JJ's and Charles's and Tammy and Joe's demise, and the crimes of my aunt and her fifth doomsday prophet husband. Okay. And their crimes. So they are convicted. Okay. They don't get to tell me what to say and what to do, but I do have to just be careful and not give them any ammunition, because they will fire back. So that's all they have, in my opinion. They do it this way. It's to me how Stacy Cox Cope said in her papers, the court papers a long time ago, with Melanie's dad, Steve. He says that she claimed her family was a psychological hornet's nest. And so if you apply that same concept to this whole SRA thing, that's exactly what it's, you're just like, yeah, there's no beginning and no end. It just is one and of the same. And it's just messy. And they will bring you down too, because that's all they have, I do believe. So yeah, we do too. We make it's like been a whole thing. Okay. It's like I say it all the time, and that's how I trained myself to kind of just to say it all the time that way. Because a lot of people just speak stuff as fact, and I understand it's very annoying for me to say it, and it's very annoying to hear it, and it's very annoying to allege it. But I mean, also, I don't want to be murdered. I don't want my family, the rest of us to be murdered, and 3 members of my family were already murdered. So, I'm just like, I'm a little cautious with that. So anyways, all right. So we'll end on that glorious note. And, since I don't have my phone, it really does suck, y'all. So I promise this time that the things that I work on, I think this might help track what I'm doing during the week when we're not here. Is I'm just going to post it. I'm going to post it in the community post section on YouTube. I think you can upload like 5 photos. I have to figure out the sizes, but anyways, and I'll post it in my Facebook group, which is Difficult Research. And you can go there and look at that. And then, I need to start writing on my Substack. I'll try to do, I don't know where to start. Like, how do I start the actual, I don't know. Anyways, start at the beginning, right? But let me just build the enterprise case. Let me build the case of the enterprise. That's how I'll start. But so yeah, I need to do that, and then we can just kind of go over these things every week or whatever until my intuition says you're done. And then that's when I'll let off. Until then, I don't think another guilty sentence, another conviction, another trial, I don't think that's gonna just be relieving, because the other 2 were not relieving either. It's like, okay, yay, but it does not bring them back to life. It does not right the wrongs that have been made here, and there's just been a lot of damage done here. But I want to continue learning, and just try to get a better grasp of what is really at the center of this. What is where are these people coming from with all these inverted beliefs. And why do they hurt children? Why do they create victims? Why is this going on? Who's behind it? And, until I have a better understanding of that, yes, I never set out to write a book, but why not? It would help. And then I can leave this for future generations, whomever feels like inquiring and learning more, it would be nice to have that work done. And so if they ever wanted to, they could just, check it out. Anyways, thank y'all so much. I appreciate you for being here. Hi, Bella Italian. Glad to see you. The Starship Enterprise or astral projection. That all in of itself, y'all, is crazy. I mean, and it was just declassified. I've read some of the documents, the vibrations, the megahertz, and what do you call it? I don't know. I don't have all that saved in my brain right now, but it's interesting. And this was literally what Lori told Charles. Charles was blocking her gifts. She could not astral project. She could not do portaling, which is astral projection. So you want to know what Lori's doing in her cell? I bet she's astral projecting somewhere. She might be haunting me at the witching hour or something. Anyways. All right, y'all. Stargate. There you go. Stargate. Yeah. Hemisync is what I was thinking of too. Hemisync. But not Lori's boobies. You're crazy. Okay. All right, guys. Love you guys. Yeah. Vibrations, huh? Protecting further victims honors the victims too. Thank you, Lamisa. Thank you for reminding me of that. Right. All right, guys. See you next time. For a long time, obviously. See y'all later. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Love always wins, and you're proof of that. Thank you.